afternoon from St James's Park, where the white fluffy clouds above are parted and we can see blue sky. It's in danger of feeling like a spring afternoon here in Newcastle for the 160th league meeting between Newcastle and Everton. The teams just making their way out of the tunnel at the moment, and the black and white flags of the St James's Park crowd being waved all around the Everton fans high up to our left hand side. It is 11th place Newcastle against 9th place Everton. Just a point separates the two teams in the Premier League as both look to rekindle their ambitions of European football. Everton coming off the back of 2 league defeats. Newcastle have found some form but have won just 1 of their last 6 in the Premier League. The two sets of players going along the line in front of us, shaking hands. James McFadden alongside me. It is a fixture that over the years has been hard to call. This one similar.
Yes, and I think that normally, Newcastle, an intimidating place to come, and it is always with the crowd, but not been great at home this season. Everton have managed to, be so strong away from home and had their troubles at home as well. So, yeah, I think that it is always tough to call. Two teams know exactly what's at stake. Newcastle coming off the back of a fantastic performance result in Champions League. Everton coming off the back of a poor result against Manchester United, and a chance to really, put a bit of distance between, for Everton, a distance between themselves and Newcastle, for Newcastle to leapfrog Everton and take control of their league form, which hasn't been great of late. But one thing I'm sure of, we'll get some excitement, a bit of drama. We've got players that want to excite you and play football. So yeah, it'll be a good game regardless of the outcome.
Well, as the two sets of players go around their pre-match rituals, let me run you through the two lineups for Newcastle. It is just one change from their last Premier League match against Manchester City. Joe Linton coming back into the starting 11. He's replacing Joe Willock. So it's Nick Pope in goal, a back four of Lewis Hall, Dan Burn, Malik Chow and Kieran Trippier. The midfield three, Sandro Tonali, Joe Linton and Jacob Ramsey. Anthony Gordon, the former Everton man, wide on the left. Anthony Alanga wide on the right, and Nick Voltemada returns to his more usual position of leading the line of attack. For Everton, well, they've made 4 changes from that defeat to Manchester United. Coming in, Mikalenko, O'Brien is back from suspension, McNeil and Beto heading out of the starting 11, and all 4 going on to the bench: Keane, Iribunum, Armstrong and Barry. So Jordan Pickford starts in goal. It is a back 4 of Italy, Mikalenko, James Tarkowski, Jared Branthwaite, who moves back into that central defensive position, and Jake O'Brien at right back. James Garner moves back into the midfield alongside Idrissa Gueye and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. Dwight McNeil wide on the left, Iliman Ndiaye on the right, and it will be Beto who leads the line. The last time these two teams met here at St James's Park, Charlie Alcaraz got the only goal in a 1-0 win for Everton. He is out today through injury. Everton arriving here still wearing their home kits, blue shirts, blue shorts, blue socks. They will be playing from our left to right. Newcastle in their familiar home kit of the black and white stripes, black shorts and black socks, playing from our right to left. And this, James, a more familiar perhaps lineup from David Moyes today. Yeah,
I think Jake O'Brien coming back at right back. I like Garner in the midfield. I think he brings control and energy, and it allows Dewsbury-Hall to go and join in the attack, get close to Beto. Iliman Ndiaye, he is the man that can make a difference. So yeah, it is more like an Everton lineup, and they'll be hoping they can go off to a good start here with it. It used to be an unconventional kick-off, but now we're seeing it a lot more.
It is Everton who get us underway, and Jake O'Brien just wins the ball on the right hand side, but it's played out of the park by James Garner. And it was interesting just looking at Newcastle, they seem to have actually set up in more like a 4-4-2. Anthony Gordon and Anthony Alanga, the two highest, and Nick Voltemada looks to have dropped back into that central midfield position.
Yeah, and Joe Linton off the left hand side, where he performed in his early Newcastle career, not to great effect. He's always looked much better being in that central position, but it's clearly to use the pace of Gordon and Alanga in the counter-attack.
Well, an opportunity for O'Brien down below us to play a long throw. He's coming from this right hand side, launches it in towards the area, and it's big Dan Burn who gets the head on it, but back it comes to O'Brien, who'll just shepherd it out for another opportunity for the long throw, and which has become such a talking point this season, the long throw. The first one won by the towering figure of Dan Burn. A second opportunity then from O'Brien, a little closer to the corner flag, and it goes looking into that big group of players, but it's Chow who gets in the head on it. Gordon plays it out, but only as far as Mikolenko, who's got Iliman Ndiaye down on that left hand side. But it's Newcastle who come away with it, an opportunity to break, and this is where Everton were vulnerable against Manchester United on Monday night. Ramsey taking the ball down the right hand side, got Ndiaye for company, does get the ball across, but it's cleared before it trickles towards the feet of Anthony Gordon. Everton with some defending to do, which they do well, and Beto with an opportunity to hold the ball up, and he's done very well there.
Excellent from Beto. It's great recovery from Everton, because as you say, as soon as Ramsey picks the ball up, he has a look to his left, looking for that diagonal for Anthony Gordon. At that point in time it probably isn't on, but they work it down that right hand side forward for Alanga, and Ndiaye back down the defending, and it's a lovely little clip up to Beto, but he's got a lot of work to do. He manages to get, fighting with Teo and getting that header in, holding the ball up and taking the pressure off his side. And it is going to be the case of Everton trying to go forward, but have to really be careful with the counter attack from Newcastle.
Everton with possession in the centre circle. Garner to his midfield compatriot Gay, who pops it up to Beto, gets it back, and McNeil playing on this right hand side. It is Ndiaye on the left looking for options. Garner, and it is Ndiaye who's floated into a more central position. He's given an element of freedom in this Everton side, and you can see why as he picks the ball up again. He's got Kieran Trippier for company, and eventually it does go out for an Everton throw-in, but Iliman Ndiaye can so often be the spark that gets Everton going. Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned long throws coming back into fashion. It seems like dribbling's coming back into fashion as well, and Iliman Ndiaye, it's his game. He wants to go and commit players, and understandably he's allowed that freedom, but he also has to do the defensive shift. It's a non-negotiable with David Moyes.
Everton winning the ball in Newcastle's half, just nicking it off the toes of Joe Linton, and O'Brien now goes down this right hand side for McNeil, who is tackled by Joe Linton. Good recovery work from the Brazilian, and now Anthony Gordon with a chance to scamper over the halfway line, but he's stopped in his tracks by Branthwaite. And it was interesting, I was listening to Alan Shearer speaking at the start of the programme on 5 Live, and he said that he believes Newcastle are a far more dangerous side with Anthony Gordon right through the middle. Yeah,
and understandably, I think that the success under Eddie Howe has been having that speed across the front line, not just in the wide areas, and Anthony Gordon being that focal point when in transition, but also for the pressure. And I agree with Alan that it's certainly more effective, because when they don't, Voltamada likes to drop deep. This has not been able to go and really play any games, but when he has done, he's not really been able, he's not the profile what Newcastle had used to. Anthony Gordon in there, he's electric, but he's also got that intelligence.
Well, it is Anthony Gordon who looks like he is playing through the middle today, alongside Anthony Alanga almost. Kieran Trippier looking after the wide right hand side of the pitch as Jacob Ramsey just spins away from Gay and now finds Trippier, gets the ball back. A good break down the right hand side for Newcastle, but the ball to Alanga just cut out by Branthwaite and played back to Pickford, whose long ball upfield is cut out on the halfway line, and now McNeil goes down under pressure of Hall, and that will be a free kick to Everton just inside the centre circle with just under 5 minutes gone in this one, still goalless.
Yeah, it's probably a soft one in that area, but I mean, you look at Ramsey, as soon as he gets the ball he'll play that little pass wide to create the space, but he's already looking to his left hand side to see where Alanga and Anthony Gordon are, and that ball was just played. They know that they've got the run on the Everton defence.
Gana Gay with the ball inside Newcastle's half, midway between the halfway line and Newcastle's penalty area. Everton just being patient, looking for an opportunity. I'll tell you about an early goal in the Championship. Ipswich have gone 1-0 up against Swansea. Mehmeti with the goal that moves them up to 3rd in the Championship table as things stand. A long way to go this afternoon. There's also been a couple of early goals for Falkirk in the Scottish Premiership. 2-0 up already in their game. 2 goals in 4 minutes for Falkirk. So Pickford with the ball at his feet, just directing O'Brien, but instead goes short to Garner. Now Tarkowski into Dewsbury Hall, pops it back to Garner, and Everton enjoying a lot of the ball here so far.
Yeah, they are. We so often see Newcastle being really aggressive and pressing and trying to win the ball high up the pitch. They haven't really been able to. Maybe it's because of the makeup of the side.
Beto just diving in at the feet of Pope as he tried to clear. The referee has stopped play. Thought that perhaps Beto was a little late on Pope. I'm not sure how much contact there was.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but it's not one where he's actually going to put the challenge directly on Nick Pope. It's just to try and get the block on the clearance from Pope's. Good pressure. We talk about Newcastle's slightly sitting off Everton, almost setting traps to try and catch him on the break, but Beto's leading from the front there. He's just trying to block that clearance up the line, and maybe the actual follow through from Nick Pope is what catches Beto rather than the other way around.
Well, Newcastle now trying to create some possession off their own. Hall on the halfway line, just puts his foot on the ball, doesn't have an option forward, goes back to Byrne. Byrne now spreads the play to the right hand side to Trippier, knocks it into Ramsey. That little touch gets a round of applause from the Newcastle fans over on that far side as Ramsey now looks for options ahead of him. Again, Everton, so many players back behind the ball. Newcastle forced backwards, still in the centre circle. Now Hall, who's been a pivotal figure in this Newcastle side since returning from his injury. Joe Linton on this left hand side where he's operating this afternoon, plays back into Hall. Now Tonali. Newcastle now beginning to spread the ball around just midway between the halfway line and Everton's penalty area, but Everton have got numbers back, every player back inside their own half, just trying to shut out the space. Newcastle keeping possession. Byrne has space in front of him, he moves into it, plays out wide to Joe Linton. It was a heavy pass though, and a difficult one to control for the Brazilian. He didn't manage to do so. Garner wins it and plays down long, looking for Beto. Nick Pope out of his area and just lets it go out for the throw-in.
Yeah, Newcastle, a lot of the ball there, but it's all in front of Everton. They can't really find that breakthrough. Clearly in the transition they're looking to get in behind and use the pace of Alanga and Gordon, but when Everton are set up and structured, struggling to find that killer pass, that player that will come and get on the half turn. Jacob Ramsey looks most likely, and Joe Linton takes a poor touch. It's one long ball up. Nick Pope probably has to get there because Beto is winning the race with Dan Burn.
Liverpool have taken the lead. Ekitike with the goal. If you want to listen to Liverpool West Ham, you can do, as a shot comes in from Iliman Ndiaye, just high and wide over Nick Pope's goal. But the first effort on goal that we've seen this afternoon. Liverpool West Ham is on Radio 5 Live, full commentary there here on Sports Extra. Newcastle against Everton, and that is the first glimpse of goal, and it's come from Everton's Iliman Ndiaye.
Yeah, he just lovely feet off the left hand side, plays it into Ghana Gate, makes a run forward, simple pass back into his path, the space opens up, it's always rising, probably not troubling Nick Pope, but outstanding feet from Iliman Ndiaye coming off the left hand side.
Pope takes the goal kick long, Branthwaite wins the header, Byrne then heads it back and Gordon is down, looks like he's in a bit of discomfort, but still play goes on, and Everton now coming forward again, and Ndiaye just looking for the run of Beto all the way through to Pope, who doesn't stop for his teammate, plays it straight out. I'm not sure he noticed that Gordon was down. He's gingerly getting to his feet now.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's obviously got his eye on Beto, given a minute ago he had to race out his box into the left back area where no centre half wants to be, never mind a goalkeeper. But yeah, he's just trying to get the play restarted, and you can see he was speaking about Newcastle and trying to look for Gordon and Alanga coming off the sides and getting in behind Everton. Wow,
that was a terrible clearance from Malik Chow, or pass straight off Beto, who's right in front of him. And now Everton with Gay with a chance to come forward. He's got Ndiaye down the left hand side, chops back though, and perhaps the opportunity down the left was better for him, but Everton do keep possession through Garner. Now Ndiaye gets the ball wide on the left, level with the edge of Newcastle's penalty area. Garner just cutting back onto his left side, looking for an option. He gets it from Ndiaye wide on that left touchline into Gay, edge of the penalty area, across to McNeil, and that's a Poor left-footed effort from Dwight McNeil, high over Nick Pope's crossbar, but Malik Chow very nearly playing his side into danger.
Yeah, I mean, he's unopposed. Beto's in, splitting Chow and Burn. He's not even really putting pressure on. Chow goes for the crossfield pass, hits it straight at Beto, and it gives Everton the momentum. And you're right, I think that Ganagay has to play that out to Iliman and Jai's 1v1 in the wide area. They work it well. Dwight McNeil, he's looking for that pass to be played so he can go and hit it first time. I don't think Ganagay assumes he's going to take it first time, and he's not really set, but he'd made his mind up earlier. Too much height on it, never troubling Pope, but decent spells of control for Everton so early in the game.
It's an interesting January window it was for Dwight McNeil. This is his first involvement really since that failed move to Crystal Palace, but space now for Nick Voltemada coming forward. Ramsey inside, under pressure from McNeil, but finds Joe Linton, left edge of the penalty area. Overlap from Hall. Hall's cross cleared at the front post by Tarkowski, only as far though as Joe Linton. Left side of the penalty area, cross deep looking at the back post, but it's Alanga that's there, not the tallest man on the pitch, and it will almost trickle out, but Kieran Trippier up there and made sure that it didn't go out of play, and Newcastle keep possession with Trippier on the right hand side. Now Alanga into Ramsey. Dangerous initially for Newcastle, and Everton now with everyone back snuffing out that danger.
Yeah, it looked more like the old Newcastle. As soon as Voltemada gets turned, he's got an option left, right and centre to go and really expose Everton at the back line. Hall makes up so much ground to get round Joe Linton, put a dangerous ball across, and they managed to keep that pressure, but then when it goes back, they slow the tempo down again. Newcastle, you used to seeing them playing with so much energy.
And it's into Gordon just outside the D with Joe Linton to his left, and he now places a right-footed shot high and wide over Pickford's goal, very similar to Dwight McNeil's just a few minutes ago. Yeah,
there's been some good play in this game, but the finishing is certainly lacking for both sides. It's nice for Joe Linton as well. It's played in such a way that it's easy for him to come back on his right foot and just go for more for placement than power. He does go with his side foot, and he's trying to find that far corner, but he puts too much power on it. He's leaning back, it's always going over. It's a nice little break of game from Newcastle.
There's been a goal at Turf Moor, and it's gone the way off the away side. So Burnley 0, Brentford 1. Damsgaard with the goal for Brentford, so they lead by a goal to 0. Liverpool lead by a goal to 0. Still goalless here at St James's Park between Newcastle and Everton as Beto tries to wriggle past Dan Burn. Got the better of him there, the battle of the two big men.
Yeah, it won't be the last time either.
Well played by Lewis Hall just to deny McNeil an opportunity to turn him. Takes the ball, and now Voltemada trying to go forward, but again the press is good from Everton, and Dewsbury Hall gets a foot in. It's a very interesting Newcastle formation, this. It's not something that we've seen much of in the Premier League, with Voltemada in that midfield. They're almost playing with 2 8s. Tonali very much the 6. No Bruno Guimaraes, of course, with his injury. But is there a feeling that Newcastle have had to adapt a little bit with the injuries that they've had? Yeah, plus also I think, trying to find the best place to play Voltemada, because a good start to his Newcastle career and looked like he could be a goal scorer for them, but he's not a traditional number 9 and doesn't play with the speed that you would expect from certainly the last few years under Eddie Howe, a Newcastle centre forward, and it's trying to find a different way. Joe Linton, I think, is more to match the physicality of Jacob Ryan in the right back area, because we know how effective he is in that midfield area, so I think it's more to get the best out of Voltemada. Fantastic run from Iliman and Jai, left Tonali for dead, but then played the pass, and Tonali had continued his run back, got in there before Dewsbury Hall could get it under control, and it will be a Newcastle goal kick. And now Tonali is down on his back after that lung-bursting run, but what a run it was from Iliman and Jai. That was excellent. Kieran Dewsbury Hall making that run outside him, just power and pace. I think he has to play it a little bit earlier. By the time he does, Dewsbury Hall's offside. He knows he's offside. I think if he plays that as soon as he can catch Dewsbury Hall in his left, just out the corner of his left eye, then it means the defender has to go and either engage the ball, which then leaves Njai free in the middle. I think that's a let off for Newcastle. Well, it will be the free kick for the offside that Nick Pope takes just outside of his penalty area, and again he's going to look to launch it forward. There is a lot of height in Newcastle's side with Joe Linton and Voltemada up there, and that is the direction it goes, towards Voltemada, but Garner wins the header, then Beto, then McNeil with a header, and now Dan Burn and Beto go shoulder to shoulder again, and it is the Newcastle man who will win the throw-in. But he looks to be struggling a little bit, Dan Burn, just a hand to his ribs. It was of course a rib injury that forced him off in the derby against Sunderland earlier this season, and that will be a big battle this afternoon, those two.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's understandable that Beto's back in the side because he's got the physicality. He doesn't mind, that physical battle with the centre backs, and also he's got pace to run in behind. So we've saw it a few times already where before the ball's up there's that wrestle, that grapple with the both of them. I'd say Beto certainly looks like to be enjoying himself.
Lovely little flick by Gordon round the back to Voltemada, who then just sprayed it over to the right hand side perfectly for Kieran Trippier to pick it up. Newcastle now inside Everton's half, looking to try and put some pressure on what has been a very strong defensive setup from Everton so far this afternoon. Joe Linton wins the header, but nobody alongside him, and Pickford is able to just pick that up inside his area, and you can hear the frustrations of the Newcastle support.
Yeah, you can hear the frustrations. You can also hear there's a former Sunderland player just in control of the ball there. But yeah, I think it's a good run from Joe Linton off the left hand side.
Anthony Gordon, edge of the area, just trying to get a little flicked header from Voltemada under control, but Everton again quick to get in and put pressure on, but Jake O'Brien plays that pass straight out of the pitch, and now Newcastle are being urged forward.
Yeah, I think that's the frustration, that it is a bit slow and they're looking for that outstanding killer pass over the top, so they're moving Everton about and trying to probe and get through it. The middle, the one previously with Joe Linton, it's a great run, but he's the only one that makes it. Gordon and Alanga supposed to be up there in support. They don't really read that situation.
Yeah, definitely because he was a Sunderland player. We've just heard the boos again for Jordan Pickford. Grew up in Sunderland through the academy there.
Yeah, he's not popular around these parts.
No, definitely not. But Newcastle, they've enjoyed a little upturn in form, certainly when you look across all competitions, as Everton look to put pressure on them again, and Jai left of the penalty area just inside, trying to create an opening with a little shuffle, but it's been put behind by Malik Chow. That's about as much as the Newcastle defender could do. So first corner of the afternoon, and it will go the way of Everton.
Yeah, it's another good break, no surprise. The man in Jai's at the heart of it, and you can see Dwight McNeil. Beto makes a run to the front post, and Jai tries to play it through the legs into the path of Beto, but Dwight McNeil had made that run for the cutback, and I think it's on. I think the pass is on. He's frustrated that the ball doesn't come to him. If Jai spots him, then I think that Everton have a great chance to take the lead in this game. I think we spoke about the transition, the counter, the speed. This is going to be a huge part of the game as well, the set plays.
Well, from that far side, Everton playing the ball in front post. Branthwaite header off the far post and into the net, and Everton from a set piece take the lead here at St James's Park, and it's Jared Branthwaite with his first goal of the season. A flicked header at the front post in towards the back post, where it came off the inside of the post and nestled in behind Nick Pope. Newcastle 0, Everton 1.
Well, I'd say it's how important the set pieces would be, and as the ball is crossed in, I'm thinking, oh, that's a poor cross, I've just given it the build up, this is going to be dangerous situations. But Branthwaite makes that run to the near post, beyond the near post. He's having to stoop to get his head on it, which he does brilliantly. And it's a brilliant header in off the post. It's maybe not as low as I remembered there, but certainly he's not jumping. He's making sure he gets the contact. It's a low delivery just to the front of that near post. He's actually got a little nudge in the back, Branthwaite, and that is a magnificent header. Just glances it in off the back post, and if he didn't, two Everton players lining up to put that in as well.
Well, Eddie Howe will be hugely frustrated to concede from a set piece. It's Jared Branthwaite's first goal since May 2024. He's had a tough season with that hamstring injury, but he's back playing, back fit, and now back scoring. And it's given Everton the lead here at St James's Park after just 20 minutes. on the clock. So now it is to Newcastle to try and respond. And it's incredible, Everton's record away from home. They just seem so much more comfortable away.
Yeah, I mean, you do see the new stadium curse where a lot of teams, when they move into a new ground, particularly when you're leaving a place as historic and magical as Goodison Park, but they actually started pretty well in Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's just been of late where they haven't really been able to use that advantage, and just as soon as that goal goes in, the Everton fans have got a brilliant song for Jordan Pickford. It took the Newcastle fans till they got to the chorus to cotton on it was about Jordan Pickford. But yeah, their away form's been great, and I think it's just trying to get that consistency. But from where Everton were when David Moyes took over to where they are now is night and day.
Well, free kick for Everton. Idrissa Gueye just caught inside Everton's own half. There's a couple of big goals gone in the Championship. Coventry have taken the lead through Haji Wright, so they lead Stoke by 1-0 at the top of the table. At the bottom of the table, a really big goal by Stanley Mills to give Oxford the lead against West Brom. The free kick headed towards the far side. O'Brien gets the header back across the penalty area, but it's Newcastle who come clear with it. Tonali now, Gordon racing through the middle, but he goes to Alanga, who's now got 2 Everton players for company, manages to shake both of them off, now finds Gordon right edge of the penalty area. His cross though is easily cleared by McNeil, didn't pick anybody out, but Newcastle recycle it, come forward once more. And then Mykolenko, now under pressure from Gordon, plays it off the Newcastle player to win the throw-in.
Yeah, I thought when Alanga picked it up, he should have played that forward. Anthony Gordon made a great run. I thought he should have played it earlier, but he does brilliantly. He rides 2 challenges, great strength, but it's the passes then. It's not a square pass, but it's not a progressive forward pass. And Anthony Gordon's so poor in that area. He really should be looking to pick a teammate out straight back to Everton, and they managed to recover and stop that dangerous situation from becoming a problem for them.
Again, Njai on the ball, trying to move forward, stopped in his tracks. There is 4 Premier League commentaries for you to enjoy tomorrow across Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Manchester United against Crystal Palace will be the 2 o'clock kickoff on 5 Live, and then you can listen to Fulham against Spurs and Brighton against Forest, both of those available on BBC Sounds. And at 4:30 tomorrow, Arsenal against Chelsea on 5 Live. Today's late Premier League action, Leeds against Manchester City, that one also 5:30 this afternoon. So free kick for Everton inside their own half. Pickford standing over it, looking to launch it forward and try and create a stronger lead here. Everton with the opening goal, Jared Branthwaite with the header. Njai now picks it up. He's got a couple of Newcastle players around him, such quick feet to create the space. Now gets it back, drops it to Gueye. Beto is down on his haunches, so at the moment no focal point number 9, but Njai falls over the ball in any case, and Newcastle are able to pick it up, and you can hear the Newcastle fans roaring their team on. They're desperate to see them get up the other end.
They want to see them going forward. They've got chances to maybe turn and play the ball in behind, and it's not hopeful. That's the way the team's set up. You've got the speed in Alanga and Gordon, but they're just not turning and getting those passes played. And I don't think the Newcastle fans are enjoying this patient approach, especially because the only effort they've really had is the Joelinton one from nearly the corner of the 18-yard box. It's blazed well over, never troubling Jordan Pickford. They want to see more speed and more energy in their play.
Just heading towards the 25-minute mark. Newcastle 0, Everton 1. The Newcastle support getting a little bit frustrated here inside St James's Park. Like James says, they've not had too many glimpses of goal. A team that are usually high energy, high intensity. It has been a more softly approach today, but Alanga skips down the right hand side and Branthwaite has to put it out for a throw-in. So they have a throw-in on the far side, level with the penalty area. Kieran Trippier with the ball in his hands. An opportunity perhaps to start something, but this a place where Newcastle have been traditionally so dominant at home, as Trippier's throw-in is cut out by Mykolenko, but Gordon picks it up on the edge of the area, gets it onto that right foot, tries to just feed it through for Voltemada, but it's cleared, and Beto with a good touch to take it away. from the Newcastle players around him, and Everton still keeping possession. Is Njai racing towards their penalty area, but a sliding challenge from Anthony Gordon gets the applause from the Newcastle crowd. But it is Newcastle who are looking all at sea here today.
Yeah, it is. I think that Anthony Gordon just trying to play that killer pass that probably isn't on. I think he worked the space to go for the shot. I know there's a lot of bodies in front and he's coming away from goal, but I think that there has to be something different. But Everton then showing probably Newcastle fans what they want to see from their team. As soon as they went it back, they sprint forward in numbers. They look dangerous. Beto almost doing unbelievable to free up the space. Newcastle managed to stop it, and again it's probably another poor pass from Iliman Ndiaye, the square pass wide, allowing Anthony Gordon to get the tackling, but it turns defence into a attack so quick for Everton.
And that was a clipped ball forward from Branthwaite looking for O'Brien. Did he stay onside? No, he didn't. The flag now does go up. I did wonder when he was so far removed from Newcastle's back line. Lovely ball from Branthwaite, but Jake O'Brien had just gone offside. But it is 2 defeats at home in a row now for Newcastle in the Premier League against Brentford and Aston Villa. They last went 3 under Steve Bruce back in 2021. So it is unprecedented under Eddie Howe to have faced a situation where they could potentially be losing 3 home Premier League games in a row. Yeah,
especially in the week that they qualified in style for the next stage of the Champions League. But yeah, I think that there's certainly been, of course, Isak and the profile that he brings to the team is going to be a huge loss. They're trying to find a way. You can see Eddie Howe's trying to find a way to get that energy, that explosive, speed in their play again. And with that, it's bringing a bit of inconsistency. But I'm sure the trade going deep in the Champions League, you can't have it all sometimes.
No, and those are the competitions that players want to be part of, that the supporters want to be part of. But it does mean that in 2026, Newcastle have played 16 games across all competitions. Everton, in comparison, have played just 9. As they come forward now, Dewsbury Hall, great touch, but Lewis Hall is there and they go shoulder to shoulder. Dewsbury Hall goes down, he looks at the referee, but I don't think there was anything in that.
No chance. Great defending from Lewis Hall, but again it's Newcastle dithering on the ball.
Elanga plays it into the feet of Ramsey, who's looking for the run of Gordon, but not sure the pass was ever really on, and it was blocked by Branthwaite. Newcastle will win the throw-in inside their own half.
I don't think it is, Ailey, but I think that Ramsey's the only one that wants to go forward quicker when he gets the ball. He doesn't want to take touch. He looks for Gordon, he's trying to play it. On this occasion, if he takes an extra touch, Joe Linton's making his way down his left hand side, which then is probably a better option to get the overload. But just in the lead up, Dewsbury Hall goes through, he does brilliant. Voltemada gets the ball, turns, faces forward, turns again, goes back, tries to face forward, loses the ball, gives the momentum straight back to Everton, and there is a real frustration around the stadium here.
Elanga wide on the right hand side, he's got Mykolenko ahead of him, level with the penalty area, he tries to go down the outside, gets the cross in, but it's behind Pickford's goal. It will be a corner to Newcastle, though their first of the afternoon, and we saw what Everton did from their corner, took the lead through Jared Branthwaite. But does it feel a little bit like a team Newcastle, the way they're playing this afternoon, that have changed quite a lot in the forward areas, personnel in slightly different positions?
Yeah, I think it does, but I think you can see there is the instruction, the intent. Look at Jacob Ramsey, when he picks the ball up, he's before he even gets it, he's having a look over his shoulder to see if he can play that ball as early as he can.
Lewis Hall goes short with the corner. Tonali now heads it in. Elanga and Chow both battling, and Joe Linton gets the final header, but nothing that would worry Jordan Pickford, who clutches it, and the chorus of boos ring around St James's Park for the former Sunderland man.
Yeah, there was a cheer because they got a shot on target, but quickly they remembered who it was that caught the ball there.
Forward it goes, looking for Beto, but it's going out of play.
Yeah, you're speaking about the style, and you can see, because I totally understand Gordon, Elanga, their speed, you want to then get in behind, but you still need that one that's going to be the focal point. Sometimes Voltemada's actually played more advanced now. I think Eddie Howe may have made that change. You need to then occupy the centre backs to create the space sometimes, and I think when the two of them up there, they are willing to make the runs, but the pass maybe isn't on, so then you're not disrupting anything.
Yes, Anthony Gordon's come over to this left-hand side, so a little bit more pace for Jake O'Brien to worry about as Hall and McNeil battle for the ball, and it is Newcastle who come away with it. Tonali moving infield again, that roar from the home crowds urging their side forward. Alanga, edge of the penalty area, goes for the shot. It's low, it's hard, but it's straight at Pickford, who clutches it to his chest and now has a bit of a word with his backline.
Yeah, it's typical goalkeeper, isn't it? Make a save and shout at someone. Doesn't matter if they're in the right or wrong. Particularly Jordan Pickford, he doesn't mind that at all. But yeah, Newcastle have switched to a more familiar line-up. Voltemada through the middle, Gordon off the left, Joe Linton's dropped back into midfield, and I think that had to happen because I think Eddie Howe's come up with something that he feels can get at Everton and cause them problems. It wasn't working, so he's made that change early, and that provides a different problem because Alanga can then get 1v1, Tripper can get forward. Similarly with Anthony Gordon, this left hand side, allow Lewis Hall to go and then get the overloads down the sides.
And that is a good battle straight off from O'Brien and Gordon, and Newcastle eventually do come away with it. I thought Gordon was going to get the free kick, he didn't, and now Joe Linton moved back out onto this left hand side under pressure from McNeil. Tonali, lovely pass into Ramsey, effort deflection, and that's taken it past Jordan Pickford. It's come off Mikalenko, who sits on the ground looking down at his feet, but his celebrations are for Newcastle and they're for Ramsey because it's taken Newcastle level. Newcastle 1, Everton 1.
Well, I tell you, I mean, the change of formations definitely helped Newcastle back to a more familiar lineup, but the pass from Tonali is outstanding. It's a risky pass because Gana Gay's in there and he could potentially cut it out. He plays it perfectly in front of Jacob Ramsey, makes his mind up for him. Take a touch forward, get your shot away, which he does amazingly. There is a deflection which takes it beyond Jordan Pickford. Branthwaite, I think it is, it's sliding in, but the pass from Tonali is what makes it. There's been groans around here because sideways passing, not willing to play that risky pass. This pass is outstanding. Ramsey just gets out of his feet. David Moyes below us is complaining about something. I don't know if there was a foul in the build-up, but certainly not been looked at for anything.
Jacob Ramsey with his second goal for the club since making the move from Aston Villa in the summer. He's actually, his goal came, he's had a goal and an assist in his last 2 Premier League games, so finding a bit of form as he started to get a little bit more regular game time in this Newcastle side. As O'Brien wins the header ahead of Gordon towards Beto. Garner picks it up now, plays it back to Branthwaite inside the centre circle, and that's got things a little bit livelier here inside the stadium, the St James's Park.
Yeah, oh, what a touch from Dwight McNeil.
Tries to play in Beto, he's on the edge of the D, drops it back to McNeil. McNeil with that left foot, and Pope saves it just about. He spilled it, and Beto's there with a follow-up, and he's smashed it into the top corner, and Nick Pope will not want to see that again. It looked like a straightforward save. He made a real mess of it, knocked it to his left, right into the centre of the 6-yard area, and there was Beto flying forward to score his 4th league goal of the season. And in just a matter of minutes, it's gone from 1 apiece to Newcastle 1, Everton 2.
Oh, what a response. And it comes from an outstanding first touch from Dwight McNeil. But just before that, Dan Burns has got a chance to clear it. Beto doesn't give up on it. He manages to get the block. It needs to go back to Pope. It's stopped Newcastle from clearing their box. Then it goes forward. The ball's coming over Dwight McNeil's right shoulder, and he just controls it beautifully with his left foot back into his path, in towards goal. Little 1-2 with Beto. Nick Pope, he really should be keeping it out. When he keeps it out, he should be making that look far more easy than it is. It's a comfortable one for him. He's gone with his 2 gloves. I don't know if he's taking his eye off the catch, thinking about what he's going to do next. He spills it back in the way. Beto's the only player on the pitch that gambles, and he slams it into the back of the net. But the touch from Dwight McNeil is something special.
And I wondered if he might be offside because he was the only player who reacted, but there were 3 Newcastle players, I think, playing him on. At least 2 of them. Lewis Hall didn't move a muscle as Beto just scampered in to fire it in.
And look, I think people look at it and say, well, you're expecting the goalkeeper to gather it, which he should do, but you need to be thinking he might drop it. Not that oh, it's nice and comfortable for him. And Beto clearly with the striker's instinct to go and then slam it into the back of the net.
Well, his last Premier League goal came against Brighton back in January. He was only on the pitch for a minute that day and he scored, but this, his second goal of 2026. He's had to come off the bench in his last 9 Premier League games, gets the start today and he's back on the score sheet. There's also been a flurry of goals elsewhere in the Premier League. Brentford are now 3-0 up away to Burnley. Thiago with the second there at Turf Moor, and Liverpool have doubled their lead at home to West Ham. Virgil van Dijk on the score sheet. That game live for you over on Radio 5 Live if you would like to listen to full commentary. But here at Newcastle, it is Newcastle 1, Everton 2. We've played 36 minutes and the game has somehow or somewhat come to life.
Yeah, it has. I think that speaking about, you know, the change of formation from Newcastle certainly helped them, had an impact. Everton with a brilliant response from being pegged back level.
Good touch from Alanga. He's still racing down that left hand side, tries to get a cross in now, which he does. Tarkowski clears it, will be a throw in. A big goal as well in Scotland. Hearts have taken the lead against Aberdeen. Claudio Braga with the goal there, and Motherwell are also keeping themselves, a little fist pump from James McFadden alongside me. They're also keeping themselves in the hunt. They have scored at home against Dundee United. Ball in from Newcastle, cleared by Branthwaite over the top, so will be another corner for Newcastle from that far side. Things very much coming to life here at Newcastle. The title race in Scotland very much alive as well. That will be picked up later on tonight on Radio 5 Live as Manchester City play their away to Leeds. You can listen to that from 5:30 as the corner is headed clear, but it's back with Trippier. Now Alanga, cross back in again, looking for Chow. Good header away by Branthwaite. Byrne knocks it back in. Chow battling Joe Linton. O'Brien gets it clear. Byrne with a hook over his head finds Gordon, left edge of the penalty area. He's got company, but he manages to get the cross in, and Chow and Voltemada both at the back post, and somehow it's in the gloves of Jordan Pickford.
Oh yeah, somehow is absolutely spot on. I mean, Dan Burns trying to hook that back into the box just over his head, and he hooks it straight to Anthony Gordon. Little drop onto the left side, switch back onto his right, early cross, a good cross. Chow's going and attacking it, takes a deflection, but he just takes his eye off it and somehow it lands back in the arms of Jordan Pickford. That was a good chance for Newcastle, get themselves level again.
Well, Newcastle pushing for another equaliser. They've come from behind once in this game, and the change in formation has really made them look a lot more dangerous, with the running of Joe Linton in the midfield and Anthony Gordon providing pace out wide. Voltemada the threat now through the middle.
Yeah, and I think that as much as, you know, we're speaking about the profile of a Newcastle centre forward, certainly over the last few years, you can still have that freedom from Gordon and Alanga to go and make those runs inside, or even to switch interplay throughout the game. But you've got that focal point, so you can decide whether you're coming across the face or you're running in behind, and certainly still looking to make those runs to try and use their pace to get beyond the back line. But they do look much better in that situation. Plus, Joe Linton playing in the midfield, he's much better in there.
Ramsey out to Trippier on the right hand side, touches it inside to Langu, just knocks it off into the path of Ramsey, racing forward. Joe Linton, who's got Gordon, lovely touch to Hall inside the area, left foot just trying to create space for the cross, but under pressure from O'Brien, knocks it back to Gordon. There's boos from the St James's Park crowd because that was a promising attack that they've now had to come back. Gordon though gets it back, still up against O'Brien. Hall back to Gordon, trying to create the space to get the ball into the area where there are bodies, and now Hall gets it in, but it's over the head of Voltemada, easily cleared by Everton. Up to Beto, who's now finding it a little more difficult to hold the ball up.
Yeah, he is, because Newcastle are managing to get more bodies forward. It's Hall that's getting outside Anthony Gordon to get the cross in, which wasn't happening enough in the early parts of the game. And I think the frustration comes from Newcastle because the break that they made was excellent. One touch football, passing and moving, comes to Lewis Hall. I think the option's there to deliver that first time. They've got the runners going into the box, comes out the other side. By the time he then puts the cross in, he doesn't have the same options in the box. But yeah, when it comes up to Beto, very difficult because Everton have been forced back in around the edge of the box.
Gordon coming forward again. O'Brien trying to just hold him up. Gordon skips past him, but O'Brien stands strong, and McNeil is able to come away with the ball, but he's played it straight to Lewis Hall, left side of the penalty area. His cross deflected, and that will be a corner for Newcastle. There's been another big goal in the Championship. Millwall, they have taken the lead. Ryan Leonard with the goal away to Preston. Oxford United at the bottom of the Championship, now 2-1 up against West Brom, so heading for a very big result as they try and move clear of danger. But Tonali placing the ball down here at St James's Park, where Newcastle are down by 2-1. 40 minutes on the clock, looking for an equaliser into the front post. Easy clearance from Mykolenko. Tonali will get the throw in though, level with the penalty area. He finds Trippier, knocks it towards that back post where Dan Burn is lurking, but it is Mykolenko who gets the head on it, and Branthwaite tries to clear it but slices it. Will be another corner for Newcastle from the far side.
Yeah, Tonali's initial corner, it's low, it doesn't beat the first man, it's a poor delivery. Joe Linton just in there frustrated, and then even the one back, Trippier just puts it into an area, and Dan Burn's sheer presence causes the panic.
This time from Trippier, right hand side. Again it's Mykolenko who's able to win it at the front post, and Trippier now plays it back. It's a foot race between Gay and Elanga, and perhaps surprisingly it was the 36-year-old Idrissa Gay that wins it. Everton though playing it forward to Njai. The flag goes up. There will be a free kick for Newcastle.
Yeah, I never thought I'd ever see that. I mean, that was quite incredible. I know it's not exciting for anybody, and I'm not going to explain anything amazing, but Idrissa Gay just outpaced Anthony Elanga running back the way. That is remarkable.
36 years young, I think Idrissa Gay is. Anthony Gordon now with it, moving infield, finds Tonali, who's started to pull the strings a little bit in this Newcastle midfield. The Italian becoming, he's already a vital player, but in the absence of Bruno Guimaraes, becoming increasingly so in that Newcastle midfield. Ramsey just turning on it. He's got the option of Hall to his left, but goes to Joe Linton, plays a little 1-2. Slow pace in the build-up for Newcastle, and eventually Everton do win it back. And now Dewsbury Hall racing over the halfway line. He's left Ramsey, and now he tries to feed it through for Beto, but Chow reads it and is able to clear despite Beto's best attempts to slow him down. Yeah,
it's a great run from Dewsbury Hall, but Beto makes a run. He's driving from right through the centre. Beto makes a run across him. He wants that straight pass played. It's not on. Then he changes his run to try and make the run in front from right to left, but Chow is in the way. He's never getting round him. And Dewsbury Hall, I think that when he doesn't play the pass the first time, needs to continue to run to try and draw out either Dan Burn or Chow out to him, to allow that space for Beto to exploit.
Elanga taking on Mykolenko. Mykolenko goes down, but the referee gives a corner kick. Mykolenko's arms are out, his hands are on his head. He can't believe he's not getting a free kick right on the byline there as Elanga and him clashed, but it has gone the way of the Newcastle man who's been given the corner. I'm not sure it even touched Mykolenko on the way out.
I mean, I don't think it's a foul, but I'm with you. I'm not sure there's that much contact, if any, on Mykolenko. Maybe that's what he's frustrated about, not so much that it's not a foul, but they didn't touch the ball.
Elanga then takes this one, and again it doesn't clear. I think that's 3 or 4 different corner takers for Newcastle who haven't cleared the first man.
Last 3 in a row: Tonali, Trippier, Elanga, and they're pretty much similar deliveries. They're going to try and get that whip on it, and it definitely looks like they're targeting a whip ball into that near post area, but it's so flat and so low that there's no way it's going to cause any problems unless the first defender misses it. But yeah, it's really poor delivery, not something we're too used to seeing from Newcastle, normally so effective.
They've certainly got height to aim at. Byrne, Chow, Voltamada, Joe Linton.
That's why it doesn't have to be perfect. Of course you want to get power on it, but Everton are aggressive, they're big, they're strong in these situations as well, but you've got so much aggression from a Newcastle point of view to go and attack it. It doesn't have to be precise.
Voltamada just playing it round the corner, looking for the run of Elanga, but Mykolenko was able to use his slight advantage in terms of being ahead of him to get the ball back to Pickford, but they've not made a great effort of clearing it at the moment. Now Chow back to Pope. We've got 2 added minutes, which we are into now at the end of this first half. Liverpool have extended their lead once again against West Ham. Alexis McAllister on the score sheet, so it's now Liverpool lead by 3-0 against West Ham. Here, as we head towards Half-time, Newcastle 1, Everton 2. Newcastle came from behind, but Everton responded brilliantly to put themselves back ahead as Alanga wins a free kick just inside the Everton half. And Tonali will look to try and create another opportunity before the break.
Yeah, and it might be better for them because it's so close to the halfway line. This is going to be a clip ball towards the back post area for Dan Burn, for Chow to go and attack it. Voltamada's in there as well.
In it goes, looking towards Chow and Byrne at that back post area. It falls kindly to Hall, who takes it on, but that one high over Pickford's crossbar, and he has a little look to the skies and a look of frustration. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand why he's taking that chance on, and it is a clip ball to the back, but Tarkowski aggressive to go and win it, drops the feet of Hall, touching out his feet. He's got a good look at the goal. It's just slices across it high, never troubling Pickford, and been a frustrating first half for Newcastle. It has indeed, and Lewis Hall was on the score sheet against Manchester City in their last Premier League game, but interestingly he scored 3 goals for Newcastle. All 3 of them have been scored in Manchester. Must like it in Manchester.
Yeah. Wonder if any of the Manchester clubs are looking at him and only going to play him in home games.
Long it goes from Pickford looking for Njai, but Trippier gets on the end of it. All he can do is head it out for an Everton throw-in, but there goes the half-time whistle, and you can hear murmurings from the Newcastle home fans. They've not seen the intensity and performance that they would probably like. They're obviously as well losing at the break. They will want to see more in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Everton started the game the better side, had more control, looked to have more energy, and Newcastle with that changed lineup certainly couldn't really get control in the game. Everton go in front, Newcastle change the formation, they managed to get themselves level. Everton hit back very quickly, which then kind of takes the momentum out of Newcastle, and from that point on the onus has been on Newcastle to cause Everton problems. They haven't really done it. Everton have kind of coasted towards half time, and I can understand the frustration because they haven't really caused Everton too many problems.
Well, Everton are unbeaten in their last 5 Premier League games away from home. They're unbeaten in 2026 on the road, and at the break here at St James's Park they have the lead. At half-time it is Newcastle 1, Everton 2, and we are now going to rejoin Mark Chapman and Radio 5 Live.
Ryan Manning a yard outside the box to the right apex of it, and he found the near post bottom corner. Brilliant left-footed free kick. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 2.
Another goal at Turf Moor, Masfarouki.
This gives the home fans something to cheer about. They have a goal back. It's an own goal through Kyoto. He somehow just put it straight into his own neck after the ball from the right from Burnley. So it's Burnley 1, Brentford 3. We're into the final minute of first half stoppage time.
Just looking at it, actually, this 3-0 scoreline is the joint heaviest loss for Nuno Espirito Santo at the moment, because they were beaten 3-0 against Manchester City and Wolves away, as we will go to Coventry and a goal. Julia Bold.
It's Coventry 1, Stoke 1, completely against the run of play. And just before half-time, Ben Gibson got on the end of their first corner of the game and has put it in the back of the net. Coventry 1, Stoke 1.
Thank you, Julia. Half-time then here at Anfield, where Liverpool lead West Ham by 3-0. Ekitike with the first goal after 5 minutes. A glancing header from Van Dijk with a second, and then Ekitike set up McAllister with a volley just before half-time. Here at Anfield, Liverpool 3, West Ham United 0.
And we will let you head to the concourse where the West Ham fans are. Ian, Accrington Stanley have equalised at Bromley. Bromley 1, Accrington Stanley 1. We will go there shortly. After we go racing, feature race of the day at Newbury, the Greatwood Gold Cup, John Hunt.
And top weight Twin Jets has just been pulled up. They've got 4 left to jump here, Mark, and Teddy Blue has just taken over with the lead ahead of Vincenzo, last year's runner-up in second position. Heltenium for Dan Skelton is coming into the act very strongly indeed. He is next, followed by Triple Trade as they soar over the next fence, and now they head on towards the second last. Glengooley is well beaten off. He's got no chance now either. Joss the Boss has been pulled up as well. They're already over the second last. Teddy Blue from Heltenium and Vincenzo, and Heltenium now comes through to lead the field. Heltenium, Vincenzo trying to up his game, 3 lengths back in second place. Heltenium is the leader though. Over the last, Heltenham over the final fence, 4 lengths clear. A big race success for Dan Skelton. Vincenzo is trying to close here. Heltenham clinging on, he's idling, and Vincenzo and Blow You What is coming strongly out of the pack as well. But Heltenham held on to win it. My word, that was a breathless success. He looked as though he was going to win easily. Blow You What finished very strongly indeed into second place. But Dan Skelton, who's protectorate, won up at Kelso today. He's won here the Greatwood Gold Cup. And Heltenham, with 10 days to go to Cheltenham, Mark, is an appropriate winner. But that's a big one for Dan Skelton. Dan, of course, wants success at the Cheltenham Festival. He wants it badly. But he also wants to be champion trainer this year. And he's just added a significant chunk of money, over 50 grand, to his pot for the season. At odds of 20 to 1, Heltenham has won the big race here at Newbury today. Charlie Todd, the winning rider.
Thank you very much, John. John and the team will bring you every race from Cheltenham when that gets underway in a few days' time. You'll hear them all on 5 Live and on Sports Extra. Let's go to Bromley, where I told you Accrington had equalised against the League Two leaders. Sam Ashew.
Yeah, 10-man Accrington level against the league leaders, Mark, and it came from Dave Abimbola. It was simple, a long throw, and Abimbola flicked it into the back of Grant Smith's net, his first goal for the club on his first start. And the half-time whistle has just gone at Hayes Lane as well. That was after Michael Cheek made it 1-0 to the league leaders. But at half-time here in South East London, it's Bromley 1, Accrington 1.
Let's go back to the Premier League, where Everton are continuing their good away form. Lee Blakeman.
Great game this has been, Mark. Newcastle 1, Everton 2. It's been wide open. Everton ahead inside 20 minutes. Branthwaite with the header off a Ghana corner. Glancing across goal, in off the far post. Really well taken. Newcastle level through Ramsey, put in a shot from inside the D. Big deflection to take it past Pickford, put it over him actually. But less than 2 minutes later, Everton back ahead. McNeil with a shot from distance. Pope with the save. Made a hash of it though. Parried it straight back out to Beto, who scored his 5th of the season on the follow-up. Newcastle 1, Everton 2.
Can't believe the home fans were happy at half-time at Turf Moor. Maz Faruqi.
Absolutely not. Burnley 1, Brentford 3. 34 minutes on the clock here. We could see Burnley fans already leaving Turf Moor. At that point, their side were 3-0 down, although they have now pulled a goal back, that own goal from Michael Kriode in first half stoppage time. At 34 minutes, that was when Brentford's third goal went in. That was poked in by Kevin Sharder. They were ahead, the visitors, after 9 minutes. Again, a very simple goal to concede from a Burnley defensive perspective. The header from Mikel Damsgaard from a corner. Igor Thiago making it 2-0 after 25 minutes before Brentford then got their third goal 9 minutes later. Scott Parker is absolutely furious on the touchline on the far side, although he has now got that own goal, a goal back for his side to try somehow to build something in the second half. Burnley 1, Brentford 3 at half-time.
Let's go into the Scottish Premiership, where Hearts are extending their lead at the top. Connie McLaughlin.
They are Hearts 1, Aberdeen 0. Job done so far for Hearts, as you see, as the hunt for the title continues. They opened the scoring on the half hour. The architect for that was Landry Cabori, but it was executed superbly by Claudio Braga. Who else? Tapping home for his 12th goal of the Scottish Premiership season so far. And what a crucial goal it could end up being, particularly with a certain Big Glasgow 2 playing tomorrow. 7 points the difference as it stands at the top of the Scottish Premiership. Hearts, the difference over Rangers. Right at half time it is. Hearts 1, Aberdeen 0.
As things stand, Motherwell going to within a point of Celtic, so they are not out of it either. They lead Dundee United by 1-0 at the break. Elsewhere, Dundee 1, Hibs 1, Falkirk 3, Kilmarnock 1, and Livingston 0, St Mirren 1. Elsewhere in Scotland in the Championship, Adrionians 1, 10-man Moreton 1. Dunfermline lead Queen's Park by 1-0. Goalless between Partick Thistle and Arbroath. Ross County 2, Wraith 0, and the leaders St Johnstone lead Ayr by 2-1. In League One, East Fife 0, Alloa 1, Hamilton 0, Montrose 1, Kelty Hearts 0, Inverness 0, Queen of the South 0, Peterhead 1, and Stenhousemuir 1, Cove Rangers 0. And in League 2, Clyde 1, East Kilbride 0, Edinburgh City 0, Forfar 0, Spartans 1, Annan 0, Stirling 1, Dumbarton 0, and Stranraer 1, Elgin 1. Back into England in the Championship at lunchtime, Derby beat Blackburn 3-1, Leicester 0, Norwich 2, and Portsmouth 0, Hull 1. In the 3 o'clock games, how are the leaders Coventry doing? Julia Bold.
It's Coventry 1, Stoke 1 at the break. The home side should have had this one put to bed though. The opener came on 12 minutes. De Silva looping the ball in high, left to right, headed in close range by top scorer Hadji Wright. It had been one-way traffic all of this first half. Stoke had their keeper Tommy Simkin to thank for keeping it to only one. He stopped chance after chance from the home side. The visitors were poor, but in the 4th minute of added time, they've snatched one back. Sorba Thomas on a corner, ball right into the 6-yard box, headed in by Ben Gibson. Coventry 1, Stoke 1.
Millwall, as things stand, going to within a point of Middlesbrough in second. Sani Rajavajala.
Preston 0, Millwall 1. Should be more, but Ryan Leonard's first goal in the league in near 5.5 years, the difference. Dropped to him from a free kick, curling side foot finish. Coburn hit the bar before that, and Negley on the bounce, 30-yard screamer. Cornell's outstretched palm, the final touch of the first half. At the break, it's Preston North End 0, Millwall 1.
Ipswich keeping up the chase as well. Emily Herbert.
And they're comfortable. It's Ipswich 2, Swansea 0. Started early, 3 minutes in. Mehmeti lashing it into the top corner, dominating the first half, and then 3 to the break. Azon squeezing home from a tight angle to find the far side netting. As it stands, Ipswich moved to within 3 points of the automatic promotion spots with a game in hand. Half time, Ipswich 2, Swansea 0.
Good first half for Wrexham 2, Jonathan Ledyard.
Yes, and so much good work by Charlton, creating 3 golden opportunities which they wasted. They were then punished by Wrexham's only shot on target for this 1-0 lead. Ollie Rathbone on the half-hour. Home defence, where were they? Phil Parkinson, though, I reckon will want a word with his defence, because they've been opened up way too easily down the left, only to be saved by last-ditch tackles. Easy to see why Charlton have scored so few goals recently. Confidence rock bottom. They're getting no points at the moment. They're losing 1-0 to Wrexham.
Another tough afternoon for the home fans at Hillsborough. Adam Cottier.
Indeed, a spirited performance from Sheffield Wednesday, but they're 2-0 down to Southampton, who are one of the teams just below Wrexham in the Championship. James Bree poked home the first after the goalkeeper had not claimed the ball from across from the left, and Ryan Manning curled in a free kick in first half added time. It is Sheffield Wednesday 0, Southampton 2.
With Leicester losing earlier at home to Norwich, real chance for West Brom this afternoon to try and open up a bit of a gap between themselves and the bottom 3, particularly when they're at next to bottom Oxford. But Angus Patterson.
It's Oxford 2, West Brom 1. Stan Mills's opener for Oxford came from a corner in the 14th minute, and Will Lancashire doubled their lead heading in from a free kick. But West Brom have played well and showed courage, and substitute Ollie Bostock's deflected strike in the 33rd gave them hope. Both sides desperately need a win here. As it stands, it's Oxford halving the distance between them and safety from 6 to 3 points. At the break is Oxford 2, West Brom 1.
In League One, Leyton Orient 1, Barnsley 3 and Northampton 1, Peterborough 1 were the results from earlier on. We're with the top 2. Leaders Cardiff are winning at Doncaster, but second place Lincoln are winning as well at home to Blackpool. Mark Webber.
Yeah, Lincoln City 1, Blackpool 0. Conor McGrandles became the Lincolnshire poacher 38 minutes in when he headed home a bobbling ball in a crowded area inches from the Blackpool net. It's a goal which sort of highlights the stats showing a Lincoln dominance. Blackpool could have caused a scare when Tom Bloxham forced a super save 20 minutes in from inside Lincoln's area. But it's McGrandles' goal that's calmed the Lincoln locals so much, Mark, that they felt they could head to the T-bar 8 minutes early. 1-0.
And details of Cardiff's lead at Doncaster from Rob Law.
Doncaster 0, Cardiff 1, an open game, both sides threatening early on, but Cardiff have just been more clinical, Mark. The league leaders got their breakthrough thanks to an inch-perfect pass from Dylan Lawler, which released Alex Robinson inside the box. Still had a lot to do. He controlled it high on his chest before lashing the ball home. Doncaster responded well. Harry Clifton and Brandon Hanlon have both had chances but failed to test Nathan Trott in the Cardiff goal. If it stays like this, Cardiff will remain top of the table. You do still feel there's goals in this, though. Doncaster 0, Cardiff 1.
Apologies to QPR and Sheffield United fans in the Championship. I forgot to give that half-time out. QPR, although QPR fans might not want to know it. QPR 0, Sheffield United 2. Callum O'Hare with his 9th of the season and Tyrese Campbell with his 6th of the season, the goal scorers for Chris Wilder's side. Back into League One. Exeter 0, Bolton 1. Sam Dolby with his 11th of the season for Bolton, who are in 3rd at the moment. Mansfield lead AFC Wimbledon 2-1. Port Vale 1, Luton 1. Jack Wilshire's side taking the lead through Naki Wells. Ben Wane's 6th of the season, equalising for the bottom of the table side. Reading 0, Bradford 0. Rotherham lead Plymouth by a goal to 0. Stevenage 1, Stockport 1. Wigan 0, Huddersfield 0. and Wickham 1, Burton 0. In League 2, earlier, a late MK Dons penalty prevented Cambridge from going top of the table. They drew 1-1 at the Abbey. Shrewsbury 1, Walsall 2, and Swindon 1, Bristol Rovers 1. The other results from lunchtime. At half-time in the 3 o'clocks, Barnet 0, Chesterfield 0, Barrow 0, Gillingham 0. As we were hearing earlier, leaders Bromley 1, 10-man Accrington 1, Colchester and Salford are goalless. Tranmere, who have lost 8 of their last 9, lead at Crewe at the break by a 0-0. Fleetwood and Newport are goalless, as are Notts County and Grimsby, and Oldham lead Crawley by a 0-0. In the National League, Aldershot 0, leaders Rochdale 1, Brackley 0, Altrincham 1, Eastleigh 0, Carlisle 0. Halifax 1, Sutton 1, Forest Green Rovers are a goal up at Gateshead, Scunthorpe 0, Solihull Moors 2, Tamworth 1, Boreham Wood 0, and Truro 1, Braintree 1. Second half from Anfield to come. It's 4:01. Here's Nick Qureshi.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
US and Israeli forces have carried out joint strikes across Iran. President Trump says its missile industry will be obliterated and its navy annihilated. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claims the operation will remove the existential threat posed by the country. Iran has launched retaliatory strikes targeting Israel and US military bases in the Middle East. Its armed forces are calling it a crushing response. Britain was not involved in the morning strikes, but Sir Keir Starmer has had this to say.
Our forces are active and British planes are in the sky today as part of coordinated regional defensive operations to protect our people, our interests and our allies.
The UN Secretary-General has condemned the military escalation, warning it's undermined international peace and security. An emergency meeting of the Security Council has been called for tonight. And airlines serving the Middle East have cancelled or diverted flights. BA, Virgin Atlantic and Wizz Air are among the carriers to scale back their schedules. We'll have more 5 Live news later. You can also follow events online on the BBC News Live page, listen to BBC Sounds and watch the BBC News channel.
Good morning, everyone. It is 5 Live Breakfast.
Kick off your morning with the biggest stories and the headlines everyone's talking about.
The diplomats involved in these talks have gone to ground. Nobody is saying a word.
This is 5 Live Breakfast.
And we're on the ground at the world's biggest sporting events.
Bringing you reaction, insight and exclusive interviews.
UEFA got what they wanted as well with the provisional one-match ban.
Wake up with 5 Live Breakfast, weekdays from 6.
Ask your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The Men's T20 World Cup, Pakistan have given themselves a good chance of victory, but it will be the margin of victory that will determine whether they make it to the semi-finals or not. Dan Norcross.
Yes, I've got to respect.
Welcome back to St James's Park, where the rain has started to just fall lightly from the sky. Both sets of players back out ready for the second half. That Everton lead after a first 45 that saw them score twice. Newcastle managed to get themselves back level, but there was Beto to follow up on a Nick Pope spilled effort to put Everton back ahead. Just a little bit of concern over Jacob Ramsey at the moment. They're just the referee's just asking the Newcastle medics to come out and just check with him as we prepare to get things underway here. So Jacob Ramsey making his way off the field of play at the moment. James McFadden alongside me. What do you think Eddie Howe in particular will have said to his players after that first 45?
Well, I think he'll be looking for his team to play with more speed, more control. They did look to have opportunity to get control in the wider areas once Alanga and Gordon both moved out to the wide areas. It's a good switch here in terms of quality, but I don't think he'd have wanted to lose Jacob Ramsey, who certainly looks like he's going to have to make way here. Does not look in good shape.
No, it's Joe Willock that's going to come on to start the second half. So Ramsey came out ready, looked like he was unwell as opposed to anything else there, James. So Joe Willock will start the second half in the place of Jacob Ramsey. I'll run you quickly through the two teams as we prepare to get the second half underway. So Nick Pope in goal for Newcastle. Lewis Hall, Dan Burn, Malik Chow and Kieran Trippier the back four. Tonali, Joe Linton and now Joe Willock in the midfield. Gordon has moved back out onto that left hand side with Alanga on the right and Voltemada playing through the middle. That wasn't how they started this game, but that is how they finished the first half, and it looks to be how they are starting the second, as Malik Chow just takes the ball over halfway, plays it to Willock. First touch for him, gets it back from Trippier, looking for options. Tonali made the run, he finds him, and now Alanga just unable to control it on the edge of the penalty area, and Mikalenko launches it clear. So Everton, Pickford in goal, Mikalenko, Tarkowski, Branthwaite and O'Brien the back four. Idrissa Gueye, James Garner back in the midfield today, and Dewsbury Hall with McNeil, Njai and Beto providing the attacking options. And a free kick for Everton just inside their half. And in terms of David Moyes, he will be pretty happy with what he saw in that first half. They weren't massively troubled, Everton, and managed to get a couple of goals in the process.
No, I'd be delighted, and just looking for a bit more energy again.
McNeil, nice little touch onto the edge of the area, takes a shot on himself. He might have been looking for Beto there, but it landed in the path of McNeil. Left-footed effort from the penalty area, but easy for Pope to just clutch it there.
Yeah, it's certainly easier than the last effort from Dwight McNeil, and I think you're right, the ball comes off the right hand side. I think he's just trying to flick that round the corner into the path of Beto, gets a little bit fortunate, and then he goes for the reverse from the shot. And yeah, you're speaking about David Moyes, he'll want obviously the same to continue. Can you continue to offer a threat, getting Jai on the ball to drive forward, Dewsbury Hall looking for Beto to be that combative striker, to go and fight and get his team up the pitch when necessary, and also maybe to do a little bit better in the wider areas with the overloads. A couple of times Anthony Gordon picked it up, he had the runner, and Lewis Hall getting down the side of him, Joe Linton as well. Maybe try and stop that at source, but when the balls come in, they've managed to deal with the crosses pretty well. Overall, I think he'd be pleased with the first half performance.
Well, I can tell you, James, there's another big goal for you to celebrate, because Motherwell have gone 2-0 ahead against Dundee United. Maswanisi with his second of the afternoon, so Motherwell keeping themselves hot on the heels of the top three in the title race in Scotland. Hearts also leading by a 1-0 against Aberdeen. But here in the Premier League, it is Newcastle 1, Everton 2, as Everton win a free kick. Mikalenko just going down under the attentions of Alanga.
Yeah, it's just a challenge for the ball there. And Alanga just backing in. I mean, I don't know why he's given a foul there, to be honest. It's just Mikalenko gets up before Alanga, but it's just two players going to challenge for the ball.
Well, Pickford launches it towards Beto, who takes it on his chest, but it's fallen to Alanga. Willock gets a toe in, and Voltemada backheels it back into the path of Joe Willock. Voltemada now surrounded by two, does reasonably well, but the pass is cut out by Mikalenko. And Everton, 2 goals this afternoon. They've only scored more than twice on one occasion this season, and that was against Nottingham Forest back in December. They won that game 3-0, and Beto with an opportunity to perhaps pick up a third. Hall goes in with a challenge. Beto goes down right on the edge of the area, but it's a corner kick that is given. VAR will check this. We've lost our pictures here, James, so we can't take a look at it. I think you can see the screen in the row in front of us, but at the moment the player's waiting to find out if this corner will be upgraded to anything else.
I thought it was a foul. Second viewing, maybe not. Lewis Hall goes to ground there. Beto gets beyond him. I don't know how much contact is actually there. He does cut across him, and the leg comes up, and the follow through from Lewis Hall. I must admit, watching that happen right in front of us, I thought it's a sure penalty kick. He's definitely brought him down. Great from Beto. It's a long ball up. Dan Burn goes to try and head it clear. He heads it into the left back area for Newcastle. Beto's onto it, picks it up. Hall gets back across to try and put pressure on it. And I think that when you go to ground, you have to win the ball, which he didn't. Then does he get a touch on Beto? The next question then is, No, it's been waved away.
It's been waved away. It was outside. It's very similar to the situation we saw between Livingston and Rangers last weekend. It is outside the penalty area, so it wouldn't be a penalty. So the decision that the referee, I am assuming, is looking at is to whether he's denied the goal scoring opportunity, in which case it would be a red card and a free kick.
Yeah, well, I think when he makes the initial challenge, he starts sliding outside the box. I think you then need to, as a contact, it looked like the contact was actually in the follow through when Beto knocks it past Lewis Hall.
In comes the corner. Pope gets a fist to it, punches it clear, but Garner's racing on to the end of that one, which he gets there ahead of Tonali. Tonali with a little shove in the back, but nothing given, and now Garner goes down off the pitch, and the referee is moving over to have a word with Sandro Tonali here. There was just a tangling of the players, and now there's a few gone in just to make their points heard, as Garner's still down on his haunches. Now getting a hand up from Branthwaite. And this game just on the edge of boiling over a little bit.
Yeah, well, you've got the VAR check there for potential either red card or penalty for Everton. And Tonali, just a little bit of afters as the ball goes out. Garner's off the pitch. Slight bit of afters. He's maybe just trying to fire his team up a little bit, try and get them going. The danger with that is you fire Everton up, because you can see the reaction from the Everton players trying to get round Tonali. Kieran Trippier in there sticking up for his teammate. But yeah, on the check, I don't think there was any contact, and whether it was in the first or the second, I don't think there was enough contact for it to be given clearly.
Well, we're just getting a little replay of the afters here between Tonali and Garner. Tonali just trying to get the ball from Garner's feet. Garner goes over. Not much in that, was there?
Nothing for me. Tonali well within his rights to go and get it. He puts his foot on the ball, pushes Garner out the way slightly. He's wanting to get the play started again.
This time the free kick goes against Tonali, and it's up against Dewsbury Hall this time, but he's not happy, the Italian. But he wins the free kick, sorry. He's not happy though with what he thinks is some rough treatment that he's getting in there.
Yeah, but the stop-start nature, certainly if it's going to suit any side, it's Everton, because you're looking for Newcastle to get into a rhythm, play with that speed going forward, and the stop-start won't be helping them much.
Gordon has the ball on the left-hand side into Willock, drops it into the path of Tonali, takes a good first touch, but Dewsbury Hall with the challenge, takes out the Italian, who's now down rolling on the ground, and Dewsbury Hall gets the first yellow card of the match. And I thought he won the ball, but perhaps took a big chunk of the player too.
I'm the opposite. I didn't think he won the ball, but I don't think he took any of the player, and I think Tonali sees it coming and just collapses the legs. Maybe not.
He did seem to get, I think we were both wrong on that occasion, I think.
Yeah, he didn't get the ball and he got the player.
No ball, got the player. Definite free kick. It's around 20-25 yards out, just slightly to the right of centre, so Hall and Trippier are both standing over it at the moment, as Everton just try and get their wall sorted out, being moved back by referee Stuart Atwell. Jordan Pickford sending some instructions to it as well, as Newcastle look to get themselves back level for a second time in this game. Been a couple of goals at Turf Moor. Burnley scored right on the stroke of half time. They've now scored a second just after half time, so it's Burnley 2, Brentford 3. Cracking game at Turf Moor. And West Ham, they've also pulled one back. Souček has given them a goal, so it's Liverpool 3, West Ham 1. That game live for you on Radio 5 Live, should you wish to listen to it, as Trippier with the right-footed effort curls just over the stanchion of Jordan Pickford's goal. Doesn't worry the Everton man, the former Sunderland man, as we've been getting the boos this afternoon, as he returns to the northeast.
I was getting flashbacks there. We were speaking at half time there about some cracking games we've had here. I'm pretty sure Trippier scored one against Man City, but it was the reverse, and I just expected him to try and reverse that into the goalkeeper's side, and Jordan Pickford standing.
But it's Newcastle on the ball with Malik Chow back to his goalkeeper, launches it high into the sky. The rain has stopped. We've got another little couple of patches of blue sky above us now here at Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Everton 2. Just approaching the 55-minute mark as Willock finds space and turns and now spreads the play up towards Gordon, but it's slightly off target, and O'Brien wins it, and then Garner, trying to get on the end of it, is fouled by Hall, pleads his innocence to the referee, and there is some movement on the benches down below us. Can't quite get a sight of who might be coming on. It might well be Will Oshola for Newcastle. Harvey Barnes, I can see, is stripped, so he will be coming on, and you expect for Anthony Alanga. That might be Jacob Murphy actually down there. So pace and energy in the wide areas for Newcastle. I wonder if that means Anthony Gordon will go back through the middle again.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it wasn't Voltemada to make weight. Just a freshness for Newcastle.
Well, here do come those changes. So Jacob Murphy will come on and replace Anthony Alanga, like for like on that right hand side, as expected. Alanga again struggled to really make a big impact in this game, and it is Voltemada who makes way for Harvey Barnes. So he will move over to his preferred left hand side, and it will indeed mean that Anthony Gordon goes back through the middle. So some fresh legs, but also pace.
Yeah, and two players that want to come on and make an impact. Barnes and Murphy perform so well in their time at Newcastle, and it just gives you pace throughout that forward line. The front three, I'm sure that there'll be far more urgency to get the ball forward for Newcastle, try and get beyond that Everton back line.
And we saw the pace of Šeško and Mbeumo and Cunha, and how it bothered Everton on Monday night, that victory for Manchester United at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. So a different threat now that Newcastle will pose for this Everton backline, which itself has a little bit more pace in it, with the introduction again of Mikalenko and Branthwaite back into that central position. So it will be an interesting dynamic this second half.
Yeah, it will be. You see Murphy on this occasion plays a little position inside, allowing Kieran Trippier to be the one that gets high up and maybe just try and draw in Iliman Ndiaye and get that overload in that respect. But yeah, it is a different prospect. You also factor in Anthony Gordon making those runs, because of course he'll be aware that he's playing as a number 9, the central striker. Naturally want to drift into the wider areas, and it should bring a bit of fluidity for Newcastle.
Dewsbury Hall picks up the loose ball. McNeil looked to shoot, this time does, but Hall's right in front of him, so that is blocked. Mikalenko wins the header. Trippier tries to head it clear, but again Mikalenko is there. Now Gay, and now it's fallen to Ndiaye on this left hand side. Been a little quieter this second half, Ndiaye, but that's beautiful interplay between him and Gay, and now he's got Tonali for company, but manages to find Mikalenko. Everton just outside the penalty area. Dewsbury Hall now turns into it, but Pope is able to dive at the heavy touch from Dewsbury Hall as he tried to wriggle clear, and now launches a throw down to Dan Burn, who's taking the ball over the halfway line. He's got Harvey Barnes, first touch for him since coming on that left hand side, drops it to Joe Linton with time and space. Tonali, Newcastle flooding forward. Tonali with the effort. Tarkowski clears as far as Hall, and now Everton back on the ball, but again it's loose in midfield. Everton pick it up. Dewsbury Hall, and you can already see Newcastle have far more numbers forward.
And even just their aggression to go and win it back. When the ball comes in, Nick Pope, as soon as he picks it up, he's wanting a counter. He's thrown it to the centre back. It's Dan Burn that's made the run. You would expect maybe a full back or a midfielder to make. Then it goes forward. Not only that, when Everton land on the ball again, Newcastle are up. They're aggressive, they're pressing, trying to win the ball back.
Beto just under pressure from Chow, wins the free kick for Everton. But it is Everton who lead here, 2-1. Newcastle got themselves back level, but Everton took the lead through Beto in the first half. And it is incredible the contrast between Newcastle's Premier League form and their form across all competitions as they come forward again. Hall, left edge of the penalty, a cross in, Gordon, well defended by Branthwaite, but it will be a Newcastle corner. When you look at Newcastle's last 6 Premier League games, it's just 1 win in 6, but when you look in their last 5 across all competitions, they've won 4 of them. It's interesting they can't bring that consistency to the league.
Yeah, and I think you can see that within today's game. At times they're looking dangerous and they're going forward at numbers and aggressive, certainly since they've made the changes in this second half. And other times it's a bit slow and stuck in between styles of, do you have control? Are you causing enough problems when you have control? Have you gone too far away from what you're good at, which brings you success?
Tonali with the corner. This time it clears the first man, but Branthwaite is there to knock it clear. Hall though with the loose ball. Tonali now plays it back to Hall on the byline, dinked towards the far post. Chow is there. Gordon space at the back post, cuts onto that left foot, takes the shot, spilled and cleared by Everton as far as Hall. But there's Njai doing the defensive work. They've still not got it clear, Everton. Hall with the sliding challenge, wins it back on the byline. He's trying to find the cross, but it's blocked, and now it's Barnes going in, and now the clearance comes in from Garner, and it will be a Newcastle throw. And the energy in this stadium has lifted.
And it's not through outstanding play, it's energy, it's a real purpose to go forward, keep the pressure on.
Joe Linton's cross headed clear by Tarkowski as far as Willock, but that's good strength from Beto, and Dewsbury Hall nips and Willock pulls his shirt. That will be a free kick, Everton, and of course a yellow card for Joe Willock. About as clear a yellow card as you'll see today.
Yes, it's brilliant. Beto again using his strength, being a nuisance. Dewsbury Hall up and reading the play, nicks in front of Willock. He's got to hold his jersey. Absolutely no doubt it's a yellow card, as you say, an easy one to give. And actually it's not a bad foul, because as Dewsbury Hall gets away from Willock, he's got Beto at his left hand side. It's potentially a 2v1. It's a really good foul. But you're looking at Newcastle and saying, oh, there's more energy, but that comes from a quite slack floaty crossfield pass from Branthwaite to O'Brien. Lewis Hall wins it and then manages to get the attack, and they manage to maintain it. So a mixture of both. Yes, they're up and they've got more energy, but Everton can't get careless here. The game's not done, and we know the danger that Newcastle pose.
Well, that free kick wasted by Everton was played right out of play, aiming for Njai, but under the pressure of Trippier it just went straight out, and now Trippier has won off the throw in a free kick, which Nick Pope will take. But going back to Newcastle's league form, no team has lost more than Newcastle over these last 5 games, and their points per game ratio under Eddie Howe is the lowest that he's had at Newcastle, and in fact the lowest that he's had since he was relegated as Bournemouth manager back in 2019-2020. So you can sense there is frustrations amongst Newcastle fans, but in the big picture it's not been a bad season.
No, and it could get a whole lot better as well. I mean,
Murphy just wriggling away, edge of the area, shot comes in, but Mikolenko there to block it. They're looking for it to become better this afternoon in terms of this game. Joe Linton, left area, has got Hall in the overlap, uses him now, left of the penalty area, drops it back to Tonali. Now Hall gets it back, patient from Newcastle on that left hand side. Joe Linton now goes in to help out. Now they move it centrally with Willock to Murphy. Trippier's wide on the right, but Newcastle momentarily win it back because Willock snapping on the heels of Gay and gets possession back for Newcastle. Just looking for options, not much movement.
No, there isn't, but this is what's different from the first half. They're making Everton work. Everton have to close the gaps. They're having to go and try and get last-ditch tackles in, try and get blocks down the line of passes, and they're making them work because there's movement, there's speed in the pass, they're probing. Instead of in the first half, it was more of it was just in front, just nice in front of Everton, look for that perfect opening, whereas now there's a real urgency about them.
Dan Burn wriggling clear of challenges down the left-hand side and trying to keep the ball from going out, and he manages to do so under the pressure of O'Brien. What a battle is going on right on the touchline. And now Byrne manages to get a ball across, but it's cleared by Tarkowski. That was wonderful from Dan Byrne.
Yeah, it was a great run getting into that area. The two giants up against each other, and O'Brien and Byrne.
Hall with the cross, cleared again by Tarkowski, but again there's a Newcastle shirt in Tonali to stop it getting any further clear, but this time Dewsbury Hall does win it back. He's looking for the run of Beto. Malik Chow will just see that out. He doesn't, he slips, and now Beto is clear. He's racing into the area, nobody between him and Pope. He takes the shot off the crossbar. Tonali was racing back to put pressure on him. He took so long, Beto, and then when he took the effort, it came crashing off the bar. He was one-on-one with Nick Pope.
Oh, I mean, That is a sitter from Beto. I mean, he does well. I think the pass is for Njai, but he doesn't give it up. Chow, I don't know what he's doing, trying to let that go out. And actually, as the chance comes up, as Newcastle go in the break.
Ball across from Barnes, looking for Gordon, back post, can't quite get on the end of it, and now Njai just launches it clear anywhere, but Beto is running on towards it. This time Chow gets there first and makes no mistakes. Simple stuff, back to his goalkeeper. He's had a scare, Malik Chow, and it should have led to a third goal for Everton.
Oh, absolutely. As Beto's running through, he's going up this left-hand side, he's running towards goal. It looked to me as if Nick Pope was so close to his back post, leaving a huge space for Beto just to roll it in at the near post. He goes for power, it does beat Nick Pope, but crashes off the bar, and then in an instant, I'm trying to tell you what happened with that chance. Newcastle up the park, which they are again.
They are. This is more like the kind of fare we tend to see at St James's Park. High energy, end to end, as Jacob Ramsey just clears up a loose ball there on the halfway line. But Newcastle, we've seen them do this so often. They play an incredibly high line, and even when Beto is sitting on that halfway line, quite often he'll be the furthest player forward. Nobody between him and Nick Pope. And they can be punished.
Yeah, they can. They can, and they you know, they're at a stage where they have to go and put pressure on, and Everton are sitting back defending and trying to soak up this pressure, and Newcastle are taking the risk.
Space in front of Murphy, doesn't drive into it, he slows his run a little. They overlap from Trippier, but he goes inside to Joe Linton. Good foot in from Garner as Murphy goes down in the area, nothing given there, and Njai with Tonali ahead of him. Tonali's been sensational in this second half in particular, absolutely running that midfield for Newcastle.
Yeah, there's been a massive upturn in energy from Newcastle across the board. Tonali, we spoke about the slight flashpoint, James Garner, and you can tell he's fired up to go and get his team moving, although he is telling Jacob Murphy to calm down there, which is quite strange because he might want to tell himself that.
I've been trying to tell you for ages as well about an incredible equaliser for Burnley from 3-0 down. It is now Burnley 3, Brentford 3. Fleming with the goal there. It's an incredible game there. All of the Premier League action as ever on BBC Match of the Day this evening with Gabby. 10:30 on BBC One as Anthony Gordon spins in midfield, turns away, now drives forward. In comes the challenge from Garner, and this will be a free kick 25 yards out or so. Yellow card for James Garner, and that's where Anthony Gordon is dangerous.
Yeah, as picking up the ball, driving off the back of the midfield, right at the heart of the defence, right through the midfield. Garner claiming to get a touch on the ball, not too sure about that. Tarkowski there to mop up, but another half decent position for Newcastle.
Just run through some notable scorelines in the English Championship. Wrexham are there a goal up away to Charlton. It is now Coventry 1, Stoke 1. Ipswich lead by 2-0 against Swansea. Millwall still a goal up away to Preston. Sheffield United 2-0 up away to QPR. And then at the bottom of the table, Oxford United still leading West Brom by 2-1. Here at St James's Park, it is still Newcastle 1, Everton 2. Newcastle with a free kick. Trippier and Tonali both standing over it, around 25 yards out, a little bit further out than the previous one that Trippier sent over the top of Jordan Pickford's bar. It may well be again the fullback that takes it, but it is Tonali with his left arm raised. This one I think will be heading into the area. It is, but it's headed clear as far as Hall, just outside the area. Shoot is the crowd's cry, but back he goes to Tonali. Trippier now out to Jacob Murphy on this right hand side, into Joe Linton just inside the penalty area on that right hand side, lays it into the path of Trippier, cross, back post, touch from Pickford, falls to Barnes, right footed effort, scoops it over the top of the bar. I'm not sure if that was a shot or a cross from Harvey Barnes.
He's trying to clip that just in the back post there, Harvey Barnes. I think you can see there's lots of players in front of him, but when the ball comes in from Trippier, it's a vital touch from Jordan Pickford. He's backpedaling, Dan Burn is all over O'Brien at the back post. That's a vital touch. When it comes back to Harvey Barnes, I think he's just trying to chip that in at the back post. I think he needs to go for power, try and smash it through the bodies.
Well, St James's Park has come alive. You can hear the lift in performance has led to a lift in the crowd, and they're urging their team forward at every opportunity. They're back on the ball now. It has been all Newcastle this last 10-15 minutes or so as Trippier tries to play it down the line to Tonali. but it is blocked by Mikolenko and out for a throw-in, which Trippier will now take, just level with the edge of the penalty area on this right hand side, just looking for a few options, and he goes for Joe Linton in the middle of the pitch, who spreads the play out to Lewis Hall on this left hand side to Barnes, faced up by O'Brien, looked to cut on that right foot, which he does now, plays the 1-2 with Hall, tries to get it back across goal, but it's blocked by Tarkowski to Hall. Barnes again, left edge of the penalty area, goes for the cross, blocked, drops it back to Willock with the right foot, and that one over the top of Pickford's bar, and Jordan Pickford is out now screaming at his backline.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's trying to get, crosses stopped and shots stopped, but there are overloads for Newcastle. The energy levels in the comparison to the first to the second is quite unbelievable. When they go and get a cross, it's blocked, it's quick, they move it, they change the angle, they then try and get a cross from a different angle. In this occasion it's Murphy, takes a shot on, it's never troubling Jordan Pickford in goal, but the tempo that Newcastle have set is problematic for Everton. Although when the crosses have come in, they've managed to get themselves, Jordan Pickford a great touch to keep it off of Dan Burn, Tarkowski and Branthwaite are getting down the line of crosses and getting those blocks in, but you just feel that pressure mounting from Newcastle.
David Moyes is out on the edge of his technical area, just shouting a few instructions to his team. A man you know very well, James. He never says much with his facial expressions. I just always think he always looks like he's frustrated at something that's happening on the pitch. We know he is a perfectionist. He likes to get things played in a certain way, and he will be a little concerned right now. Yeah,
he will be, because Newcastle have all the control. Everton are having to defend, which they are defending pretty well. Yeah, you might, if you've been coached by him or played under him, that facial expression, he doesn't have to say too much. You know exactly what it means.
An intimidating character, I believe, from those who have played under him.
I think you got it right when you said hard to please.
Well, Everton are going to make a change, and it's Tierno Barry below us who is getting ready to come on. So it will be a change up top. Perhaps he will go with two. Perhaps it will just be a straight swap for Beto. Maybe that's his reaction after the miss.
Yeah, I mean, even sometimes you'd score and they would still criticise you, which is quite unbelievable, but that's the standards, the demands that he puts on you.
Joe Linton looking for the pass out wide to Trippier, cut out by Njai. Now tries to just shuffle past Murphy, does brilliantly well to pass the ball into the feet of McNeil, but heavy touch from McNeil, and Newcastle will win the throw, and he's just gifted possession back to Newcastle. Everton in need a little bit of putting their foot on the ball and trying to take a bit of the sting out of Newcastle's performance.
I think as well, you look at the touch from McNeil, it was a tired touch, maybe just a little bit of freshness, particularly the amount of work they're having to do defensively, the wide players, make sure that when they get a chance to drive forward they have that energy, they don't at the minute.
Hall, certainly plenty of energy, plays it down for Willock, and his cross right across the face of goal. No takers, but Trippier picked it up on the touchline on the right hand side into Murphy. Murphy to Tonali, gets it back. Murphy, Byrne, every outfield player currently in Everton's half. Malik Chow to Tonali. Tonali up to Trippier, still hugging this right touchline. He's got the pass inside to Gordon into the penalty area, just cutting it back, looking for Barnes, who slipped slightly as he tried to readjust his feet, and Everton just playing it out. It will be a throw in. Trippier takes it, but he's pulled back because Everton are going to make this change now. So Tierno Barry will come on and replace Beto, like for like, up front. And another player who can cause problems. He's struggled a little bit in front of goal, Tierno Barry, as Beto has, and he's also had a little bit of a shoulder injury, which I think we saw that was causing him a little bit of a problem on Monday night. Perhaps that's why there was the switch made in terms of who started. But Beto, he's caused problems this afternoon, and Barry will hope to do the same.
Yeah, he has. I think slightly different profile. I think Beto is more physical and doesn't mind that aspect to the game, and maybe that's why, I like the fact that it's slight knock for Barry, but I think more to deal with the physicality of the two Newcastle centre backs. and give them problems, which he has done. So similar for Barry to come on, and first and foremost is going to have to be a fight and a scrap to get a hold of the ball, but also to put them under pressure. As we've seen, Chow forced into a mistake. Beto really should have made it 3-1 and potentially put the game beyond doubt, but he has to do the exact same. That freshness that I was speaking about, I'm sure it won't be the last substitute for Everton.
Well, we've seen another change for Newcastle as well, and Johan Wissa has come on, so Anthony Gordon playing in his third position of the afternoon. We'll move on to the right hand side, and it looks like Jacob Murphy will play in that right back position because Kieran Trippier is the player who has gone off. So again, a slight tweak in the Newcastle system and formation, and it's very attacking now from Eddie Howe.
Yeah, it is, but in terms of personnel, you can say it's very attacking. I think Kieran Trippier's been playing like a right winger in this second half anyway. He's managed to get so high, and it's again another smart move from Eddie Howe, because you're not having to do too much defending down that side. Everton have had a couple of opportunities to break, but not real sustained pressure.
Well, Tierno Barry's first touch was brilliant to keep the ball in play down below us. I think Njai was about to pass it back for a Newcastle throw-in, but Barry did incredibly well. And now Everton on the ball. Njai just trying to wriggle clear, which he does, as he does so often. Incredible strength to just hold off challenges, but that's a poor pass out looking for Dwight McNeil.
He's got such good close control, Njai. You think that, and I'm sure the defenders do, because when I'm watching it, you think that the defender's the favourite to win it, just how he moves it, but he's got so much control over, first of all, his body, but the ball, he can manipulate it so that it forces or makes defenders think, I've won it here, and he just nicks it the other side and somehow wriggles his way out of it.
Yeah, there's not much to Iliman Njai in terms of his weight and height and appeared strength, but he's certainly so difficult to get the ball off.
Yeah, he uses it so well, and he has been a star player for Everton throughout his time here, but struggled really to get him into the game this second half. And look, there's no onus on Everton to go and get the third goal. If they can get it, great. I think the focus at this point in time is don't concede an equaliser, especially with the way Newcastle have managed to build up a decent bit of momentum and control in the game.
It is Newcastle 1, Everton 2, still here at St James's Park. Another couple of goals at Anfield. Liverpool went 4-1 up against West Ham through Cody Gakpo, but then Castellanos pulled one back for West Ham. So 6 goals scored at Anfield. You can listen to that over on Radio 5 Live. 6 goals, 2 at Turf Moor. Burnley came from 3-0 down. It is now Burnley 3, Brentford 3 there. Just the 3 goals here at St James's Park, but it's been an entertaining and intriguing encounter between these two sides. Newcastle on top as we head towards the final 10 minutes of the game. Barnes heads it into the path of Joe Linton, but Garner there to do the defensive work and try and get it clear, but Tonali, as ever, there to pick up the loose ball, and now Newcastle will come forward again. Willock into Gordon, now playing on this right hand side, trying to wriggle clear onto his left foot, and Dewsbury Hall blocks it. There's a shout of handball. It was outside the area, right on the edge of the area, but nothing given. It looked like it hit more of his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, he does jump and turn his back, and I think you're right, it's outside the area, so nothing that can be done about it. But again, Garner wins the ball back and just kicks out for a throw-in.
Barnes, right foot, slid in by Tarkowski to block that, and it's just launched clear anywhere by Everton, and Dan Burn picks it up on the halfway line. Again, Lewis Hall gets so much of the ball. Lewis Hall, Tonali, another player who's been heavily involved this afternoon. Malik Chow now coming clear, drops it into the path of Tonali, plays the 1-2 with Wissa, who's dropped into that little pocket. Joe Linton now out to Barnes, left edge of the penalty area, onto that left foot, looking towards the back post where Anthony Gordon is, but Njai is also there, and it will be Njai who shepherds the ball out to win the throw-in for Everton, right down next to the corner flag. And one thing with Iliman Njai, he's such a threat, but he doesn't have to do the defensive side of the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. In a David Moyes side, yes, you can be the outlet and the man that wants to drive forward and be creative, but first and foremost, you have to do your work for the team defensively. And they have put so much into it. There's a few times Dwight McNeil instead of maybe looking to drive forward, it's a clearance and just stay in your shape. James Garner, as I mentioned a couple of occasions, just clearance and stay in your shape. They've put so much into this defensive display, and it's because Newcastle have upped the tempo.
Barnes cross, headed clear by Tarkowski, but all the way back just out to where Harvey Barnes is on that left edge of the penalty area. Drops it to Hall to Tonali. Newcastle just peppering this Everton box, trying to find an equaliser for a second time this afternoon. They did get themselves level at 1 apiece, but now Everton still leading by that 2-1, scoring just before the half-time mark. But it has been a second half dominant performance from Newcastle. Ball in by Wissa, but it's headed clear and it's going to go out. It will be a goal kick, so it was straight off the head of Wissa. He did look a little bit frustrated with a lack of direction on that header when it came off him.
Yeah, he goes in early and the cross is then slightly behind him, which means he's just trying to go towards the ball. He jumps early, and look, there is a great shout for a corner there. I think he heads it off. Jared Branthwaite.
Another change for Everton. Harrison Armstrong, the 19-year-old, coming on, and he'll replace Dwight McNeil. And you're a little surprised perhaps that hasn't happened a little bit earlier. He's looked tired, and for reasons that you can understand, given he's not played in the last 4 games, Dwight McNeil.
Yeah, he has. He's put a lot in, Dwight McNeil, and certainly 5 or 10 minutes ago when he takes that heavy touch, but even just in general play, even when he's not in the ball, you can see he's put so much into it. I actually thought potentially Barry could have been the switch for Dwight McNeil, to leave Beto on for his physicality and just ask Barry to do a shift for the side. But I'm not surprised that substitute's been made.
So Harrison Armstrong onto the left hand side. He's played in his last 8 Premier League games for Everton, getting some regular game time since moving back from his loan spell at Preston. Tonali on the ball midway between the halfway line and Everton's penalty area. Newcastle again probing, looking for that little opening. Hall, lovely ball in behind to Joe Linton, chops it onto his right foot, looking for the pass to Murphy, and it's taken a huge deflection, and Murphy's volley from the edge of the penalty area squirms its way past Jordan Pickford into the net, and Pickford is furious. It took a massive deflection, but Jacob Murphy is roaring up the other end of the field. He enjoyed that one, and it's drawn Newcastle level once again with 9 minutes left on the clock. Newcastle 2, Everton 2.
And it's been coming, you have to say. Newcastle this second half, everything we expect to see, energy. Joe Linton does brilliantly to delay the first initial cross. He makes a run off the back. I think it's Garner he makes a run off the back of, fakes to cross it with his left foot. Not only that, he's got options in the middle. Wissa's in there, but he picks out Murphy at the edge of the box, keeps his eye on the ball. He has to adjust really quickly. So Drissa Gana-Gay that goes to put the block in, which takes it beyond Jordan Pickford. I think it was on target anyway, but that's been coming. Newcastle really turned the screw this second half. They've really upped the tempo, put Everton under loads of pressure in and around the box without creating too many clear-cut opportunities.
Now this is anybody's game as Dewsbury Hall scampers into the area, cuts it across goal, and it's found a way in, and once again Everton respond brilliantly to conceding right up the other end. Dewsbury Hall flying into the area, cross across the face of goal, and Tierno Barry sliding in at the back post somehow forces the ball into the back of the net, and it all came from Everton winning possession inside Newcastle's half, and they have gone straight up from conceding to putting themselves ahead once more. Newcastle 2, Everton 3.
Well, you could see the Newcastle equaliser coming. I definitely couldn't see a third goal for Everton coming, especially the fact that Newcastle had so much control. You felt that they were then going to take advantage, but they press and press. Dewsbury Hall does brilliant, as does Iliman Ndiaye. Again, quick feet, and to just drive forward. I thought he could go for goal. I know he's not a great angle, he's off the left hand side. I thought he was going to go for goal, but he spots Tierno Barry, just squares it across. Looked like he was fouled and putting it into the back of the net. If it didn't go in, potentially a penalty kick. and somehow it's come off Tierno Barry. I think it's come off his side as he's on the ground sliding towards the goal line. It's come off his backside and into the back of the net. Well, that's the old saying, doesn't matter how it goes in, can go in off your backside as long as it's into the back of the net. And wow, what a game we're having this afternoon, because that I did not see that coming. I just saw Newcastle at the very least maintaining control and getting the draw, and probably not the best Everton could hope for, but they offered so little in the last 20 minutes of this half.
And to make it all the more sweeter for the Everton support, it was Anthony Gordon that lost possession in the build-up to that break from Everton, which has been finished off by Tierno Barry's backside in the most sensational of fashions. And now Everton come forward again. Idrissa Gueye over the halfway line, Murphy with the challenge, and a free kick is given. And the Newcastle fans are furious, as is Eddie Howe, because that looked like a clean challenge.
Yeah, there's a frustration because there was a claim for a foul by Idrissa Gueye when he picks the ball up. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a good challenge, and I don't think that's a foul. The referee's given it, so you can understand the frustration. You can also understand why Idrissa Gueye is going to take his time here.
Absolutely, they have been second best in this second half, Everton, this afternoon, but somehow, despite conceding an equaliser, are still ahead. They lead by 3-2. We're into the final 5 minutes of the 90. Goals galore in the Premier League today. It finished 1 apiece between Bournemouth and Sunderland, but at Turf Moor it's Burnley 3, Brentford 3. At Anfield it is now Liverpool 5, West Ham 2. Disasi with an own goal for Liverpool's 5th. And here at St James's Park, Newcastle 2, Everton 3. So a very lively match of the day tonight it will be, with Gabby and the boys. 10:30 BBC One, as Will Oshola makes his way onto the pitch for these final 5 minutes. He's replacing Anthony Gordon, and that again gives Newcastle another threat, a player with pace. He's going up alongside Wissa, it looks like, as Newcastle will hope to find another equaliser for the third time in this game. But it's Everton who are coming forward. Dewsbury Hall just not able to get on the end of it. Wissa under pressure from Dewsbury Hall. Everton win it back, but then give it away to Willock, driving over the halfway line. Willock moving clear. He's got Harvey Barnes out to his left, who he lays the ball off to now. Edge of the penalty area. Barnes drops it back to Hall. Hall back to Barnes. Oshola is now central in the penalty area if they want to try and aim at him. Hall and Barnes just taking their time, allowing Newcastle bodies to get forward before they launch this ball into the area. Hall drops it to Joe Linton. Joe Linton on the edge of the penalty area tries to get it back to Barnes, but it's a really poor pass, and now Everton able to break free again. Idrissa Gueye, Barry racing down the left hand side. Dewsbury Hall gets it on the right, and he's got a couple of Newcastle shirts around him, and it's Dan Burn, I think, who gets the foot in, but Everton will win the throw in, and David Moyes is going to shore things up because Michael Keane is coming on, and you imagine it will be a forward player who goes off, as there are some afters over on the far side between a number of players. Dan Burn, I think, heavily involved. The players now crowding around referee Stuart Atwell. We'll see how he sorts this out as Michael Keane stands, hands on hips, waiting to make his way on.
Yeah, I mean, Dewsbury Hall drives forward. Everton have that opportunity to break, and it's not a foul. I think it's an Everton throw in, but Dewsbury Hall just goes down, and Dan Burn sprints over to drag him up to his feet. Obviously feels like he's wasting time, which he probably is, and the referee probably should just have a word.
Well, it will be Dewsbury Hall who makes way for Michael Keane, and Dan Burn on the end of a yellow card as well for his involvement in that melee over on the far side, which has resulted in an Everton throw-in. So Jake O'Brien with the ball in his hands as Dewsbury Hall makes his way off the field. Michael Keane, so it will be a back three for Everton. Keane will just go in alongside Branthwaite and Tarkowski, just shore things up for Everton as they try to hold on to this lead. We're into the final 2 minutes of the 90. There will be some added time, of course, to that as well, but twice Newcastle have drawn themselves level, and both times Everton have responded brilliantly. Goal kick for Nick Pope.
It's the way to do it. If you go and get pegged back, then make sure you hit back as quick as you can, and Everton have done that 2 occasions this afternoon. And Michael Keane coming on, we spoke about Oshala coming on up beside Wissa, just making that 2v2 in terms of centre backs and strikers into a 3v2, a little bit more security and control, just more work to do for the players in front of them again.
Willock twisting away from the ever ready Idrissa Gueye, and he's run into trouble into Njai, and Idrissa Gueye gets the ball back now inside Newcastle's half, finds Njai. Everton will just want to hold on to the ball and try and thwart any sort of Newcastle comeback once again, as Joe Linton gives away a silly free kick really right in front of us. Njai wasn't going anywhere, but he'll take that.
You just felt in that situation that Ganagay's driving up the left hand side, pops it to Njai. You just know he's going to keep it. You know he's going to twist and turn and have, you know, midfielders and defenders flying into challenges, because what I spoke about earlier, they feel that they can win it. And like, he's put so much into the defensive side of the game, but you know, for Everton in this added time, get him on the ball, let him keep it, draw fouls, stop the momentum from Newcastle.
6 minutes added, 6 minutes for Newcastle to find yet another equaliser, but it's Everton playing the ball into the area. Barry gets a touch on it. Chow, he's under pressure, he somehow gets it into the feet of Tonali. I thought Barry was going to nick it off his toes there, but it's Newcastle on the ball inside their own half. Hall plays forward to Wissa, who's got Keane for attention, drops it back into the path of Hall just on the halfway line. Tonali sending instructions as he gets the ball inside the centre circle from Joe Linton up to Willock. There needs to be an urgency about Newcastle, but it was a poor touch from Willock. Mikolenko nicked it, and then Willock took him down, and this will suit Everton down to the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tierno Barry almost gets very lucky with the cross into the box, but I'm amazed they put it in. It was O'Brien and Barry, the only 2 options in there, and somehow they almost fashion an opportunity, but just pass it up the line to man and Njai. Just take the pressure off slightly. It doesn't matter if he's tired. Just give him it, because he's got that natural instinct to twist and turn and dribble and draw fouls and create a bit of space.
Well, shot of Eddie Howe down on the touchline in front of us, scratching his head, and it has been a head scratcher. The contrast in their forms between Champions League and Cup competitions and the Premier League, as Njai does brilliantly to play it to Ganagay, but his cross is cleared by Byrne as far as Mikolenko, and that's gone out of play. Njai thought he'd kept it in, but the linesman had a different view of it, and Murphy will take the throw in. But it looks like it's going to be a 3rd defeat at home in a row for Newcastle in the league.
There's still time. There is still time. That's 2 minutes played, 4 to go. You still feel that Newcastle could get that opportunity.
I don't know why I'm saying that. I've been here often enough to know that anything can happen in the final few minutes at St James's Park. There have been some absolute crackers here this season already. Have they got an answer to being behind here against Everton? They've dominated the second half, Newcastle, but they were undone by Tierno Barry as the cross comes in. That's an unorthodox clearance from Branthwaite, but he does get it clear as far as Hall. Byrne now turns and plays it back to his goalkeeper, which is not what the home fans want to see. He wasn't under a huge amount of pressure there, Dan Byrne, but safety first. They keep possession. Tonali out to the right hand side with Murphy, crosses it in now. That should be easy for Pickford. It is. He clutches it despite the drizzly rain making things a little bit more slick. Holds that one safe to his chest, and now instructs his outfield teammates to move forward, where he launches it into the slightly darkening sky, but Byrne will head that back. Barnes picks it up on the halfway line.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Pickford tries to go for the old-fashioned catch the ball, fall on the deck and waste a bit of time, probably forgetting the rules in place that you've got 8 seconds once you're in control of the ball, and just imagine that wasn't in. He'd probably still be lying on top of the ball right now.
He'd have been using every single second of it. I've only ever seen that rule brought into play once, where the corner was given. Joe Linton coming forward now, edge of the area, just chops it back onto his left foot, plays in the cross. headed clear by Keane. Tonali with the effort. What a save by Pickford onto the crossbar. That was hit ferociously on the volley by Sandro Tonali. A really strong right hand from Jordan Pickford, and he touches it onto the bar. It will be a Newcastle corner, but what an effort.
What an effort it is from Tonali. It's in the air for quite a long time. He keeps his eye on it. It is pure power, but the save from Jordan Pickford is absolutely world class. It's fired at him. People say it's a good height. The reaction is outstanding. Strong right hand to tip it onto the bar. A magnificent save.
Corner in from Tonali. It's bobbling around. There are shouts for a handball, but it's gone back out to Tonali on that left hand side. But Barry's now won it, and Everton with a chance to come clear. Tierno Barry knocks the ball past Chow, but then is adjudged to have fouled Malik Chow as he went down. And Newcastle will have a free kick as Hall and Barry now clash, as Hall tries to get the ball back from Tierno Barry, and I think it's going to be the Everton man who gets a yellow card here for trying to delay the Newcastle free kick. It is lively at St James's Park, and that shot from Sandro Tonali was an absolute cracker. What a save.
I thought it was a certain goal because how well he's caught it. Pure power behind it. You're expecting the net to bulge there, and Jordan Pickford comes up with something quite incredible. I mean, he's no right to save that. It is an incredible save, and that you said earlier, you know, probably going to be another defeat for Newcastle. That felt like that was the opportunity. I know there's still time left, but just the way that he keeps his eye on the ball, waits till it sits at the perfect moment, and it is pure power. There's no way Tonali expects that to be saved when he's hit it.
Well, we're into the final minute of the added 6. There will undoubtedly be a couple more added on to that, because there have been a number of stoppages as Tonali launches the free kick in. Byrne is up there, it's headed clear. Idrissa Gueye under pressure, and he's knocked it off Murphy. It will be a goal kick, and the Everton fans are cheering, and there's some high fives going on amongst the Everton back line because they've stood firm once again.
Yeah, just on the save after it, Jordan Pickford's playing up to the Newcastle fans, quite rightly so, but it goes to his face and there's a look of disbelief in his face that he saved it. It is honestly, it's not often I'll talk about saves, you know, I'm not a goalie lover if you like, but that save is absolutely magnificent.
Well, he's had some big moments in an Everton shirt for sure in his 348 appearances for the club, and that was a save to remember. That was a match-winning save from Jordan Pickford as Newcastle take a throw-in inside their own half. Tonali just trying to launch it clear. There are a number of Newcastle shirts forward. Oshala up against Branthwaite. Branthwaite goes down, but it's won, and that is the full-time whistle. And you can hear the boos ringing around St James's Park. They have fallen to a third Premier League defeat at home in a row for the first time since 2021, and their slightly worrying performances and results in the Premier League continues. That is now 5 defeats in their last 6 in the league for Newcastle. But for Everton, they came here, their away form was strong, and they have proved yet again that they can be a real thorn in team sides away from home. They took the lead, they were pegged back, they got themselves almost instantly back in front through Beto, who reacted quickest to a spilled Nick Pope save. And then Newcastle dominated the second half, and you felt once they went level through Jacob Murphy, that deflected effort, that perhaps it would be Newcastle's day and they would find a way back into the game and to getting 3 points. But straight off the restart, Everton up the other end, the cross across the face of goal, and Tierno Barry sliding in, his backside did the job, and it's given Everton all 3 points. Are they a justified and well earned 3 points from Everton?
Yeah, I think balance of play, yes. I think they were the better team in the first half. Newcastle were the better team in the second half. The timing of the goals for Everton have been crucial, allied to the fact that Jordan Pickford's come up with quite incredible save to guarantee all 3 points for Everton. Newcastle struggled a little bit with their formation. Can understand why Eddie Howe's trying to mix it up and get his attacking players in positions to cause Everton problems. Didn't do enough of that in the first half, certainly did in the second. I thought the game was heading for a draw, if I'm being totally honest. but when one goes in off your backside and then you come up with quite magnificent save, then you know it's going to be your day. So yeah, a brilliant 3 points for Everton, and a few more questions for Eddie Howe about how he goes about the games for the run-in, because in Europe seems to be no problem. Domestically they have to come up with a formula to gain that consistency.
Well, it's a victory that does Everton the world of good. They had 2 defeats coming into this game. They've got back on winning ways. They move up a place in the Premier League table above Bournemouth, who drew earlier this afternoon. So Everton go into 8th position, still 3 points behind Brentford, who scored a late winner at Burnley this afternoon. That game's still going on, but Brentford leading there by 4-3. But a huge 3 points for Everton. They've hit the 40-point mark, and they are now 4 clear as well of Newcastle, who are in 12th and drop below Sunderland, which will not go down well in these parts. It's finished at St James's Park after a fantastic 90 minutes. Newcastle 2, Everton 3.